Here comes Deaxz and EasyQuix.
Either
Coming
that or
at
you
your
let
fast with
it
a podcast. Break it down. Get it in your ears now fast. Quicks, Deaxz, cast, pods.
Welcome back to Two in the Basement, a Dead by Daylight podcast. This week I have one of my favourite content creators and people in the world, RunningMan, to chat to me about all things Dead by Daylight and his streaming journey on Twitch. There is so much to talk about in this week's podcast. It is absolutely jam-packed with information regarding the skill-based matchmaking and how it's been so far, the developer updates, and a brand new survivor bringing us boon totems. Let's jump straight into the fog. RunningMan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Do I want to introduce myself to you guys? Of course I want to introduce myself. What's going on? I am RunningMan. I am a full-time streamer on twitch.tv. Those of you guys who are not familiar with me, I am a killer main. I play primarily like off meta weird. I mean, I started off in requests and now I'm kind of branching off into like playing with perks and kind of fiddling about with the meta in weird ways. I'm a fog whisperer. I'm a stream team owner, a team that actually Deaxz is a part of, or Deaxz is a part of. Sorry, there will be some inside jokes around here and there because
I heard the DX.
So yeah,
oh no.
I've consistently called Deaxz due to a little faux pas when we first were meeting, and it's just sort of like I'm a nicknames guy, and so that's just his nickname now. So everybody knows him as Deaxz. I call him Deaxz, and I can't stop.
It's a term of endearment. It's love, so I accept it.
Oh, it is, absolutely. Yeah, it's not. It's in no way meant to cut him down or make him feel bad or anything. It's just something that I've always done is come up with nicknames. But yeah, so I think that's the short and skinny full-time streamer. I'm live a lot. I'm live 6 nights a week. I stream anywhere from 6 to 10 hours typically. I do a 24-hour stream for every new killer. I do a subathon a month that goes anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. I'm a heavy duty content creator. So and then
you are like the longest person I think that you do some of the craziest longest subathons, like 56 hours, like, but stay awake for like 47 of those straight. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't really done due diligence, but I feel like there's a good chance that I'm the world record holder in DBD streaming. Like, I don't think anybody's ever streamed DBD solely for 48 hours. I don't think anybody's ever streamed killer for 48 hours, which I have done. But again,
I don't think you'll ever get beaten on that. You're an absolute beast.
It's possible. It's happened. I know other people have streamed longer than that, but it's something that I've always kind of prided myself on, is the ability to just never stop going. I've got a motor that doesn't quit. And so that's, it's something that really helps out in a line of work where we put in a lot of hours for, I don't know how to properly, basically content creation, and Deaxz knows this and Deaxz knows this, and anybody who's listening that, I'm sure that a lot of your audience is going to be content creators as well. And people that are plugged into the Twitch and the YouTube and the Facebook gaming, wherever their content plugged in. It's one of those 24-hour a day, 7 days a week kind of jobs. And especially if you're doing something other than streaming while creating content, you're putting that on top of your day job. It's just, you got to have a motor if you're going to make it in this business. I'll tell you that much.
Exactly. I 100% agree. I guess talking about that kind of stuff, you don't have anything on the side. You're full-time content creation. So was that the dream when you first started, or were you just getting into streaming just to see what was what?
Oh, absolutely. When I began this journey, I 100% was going to be the next big thing on Twitch. And it was born out of, so I've shared a lot about my personal journey. Especially recently, I've talked about this, but I struggled in the past with substance abuse issues, and all that kind of came to a head at one point in 2016. I ended up in inpatient rehab for alcohol abuse. And when I got out of rehab, I was on this like journey of self-discovery. I had realized that I had spent years not really knowing who I was, not really knowing what I was doing. I was living a life that I wasn't happy in, and I needed to find something different. And I was a huge fan of Twitch at that point, huge fan of games. And so I just decided, like, I'm going to go after content creator. I'm going to be a streamer now. That's what I'm going to do with my life. That's my life. I'm going to be a streamer. And my wife at the time was, on the surface supportive of that idea. And so I left my job and just started streaming full time in 2016. Wow. And I've actually never been this like transparent about that. I've talked about my beginning, but I've never actually I don't know if I've ever actually been transparent about the fact that I left my work while I was still married and just tried it for 6 months. I've always talked about my first 6 months, which is I was streaming Heroes of the Storm to nobody. And I was terrible at it. Like, I had no concept of what it took to be a content creator or a streamer and entertainer. But I went for it. And yeah, so like for 6 months, I streamed quote unquote full time, and it did not pan out. So I quit.
Well, I appreciate, first of all, you, being so honest, because I think that is one of your best qualities, is that you're unashamedly honest and just lay it all out there on the table. So I appreciate you, sharing that with me and with us. But yeah, that first 6 months, the first year streaming to nobody, it's always tough. And you said you ended up quitting. I know that you got into Friday the 13th eventually, but what happened, I guess, yeah, we love to talk about people's different journeys. So what happened after that 6 months? Was it done? You thought you were done forever, or you were?
Yeah. So that's really funny. And so again, I've told this story a few times, and again, and I want to be also clear that like I don't think in the past I was ever trying to like hide it. Like, you're right, I am honest. It's just more like I just more realized just now that I don't think I've ever really like communicated.
Oh no, I didn't mean you were trying to hide it.
No, of course, no. And I'm not defending that. I'm just saying I'm like having this is me, bro. You know me, and like people will get to know me, but this is me. I'm like having this realization that I've told this story more than once. In like in an interview capacity, I'm like, dang, I like never mentioned the fact that like I went full time right away and just completely fell on my face. I don't think so anyway. Maybe I did. I don't know. I have to listen back.
And it's the thing that they tell you not to do, right? They say don't like throw
I,
yourself in there. Don't do this.
I say that
you're not that kind of person.
I say that every day. I'm like, please don't quit your job, bro. Don't quit your job. Like, just stay streaming. So, because the second time I quit my job, I still shouldn't have. So the 6 months, 6 months I tried full time. Did not pan out. Crazy that the guy who with no experience and no background in any of this stuff couldn't just draw viewership by sitting with a camera pointing at my nose and absolutely dead-eyed, slack-jawed playing video games. Nobody watched me. Weird. So I took 6 months off. I moved to Alaska. I went through a divorce. I moved to Alaska. I worked for my dad who owned a business. Got back on my feet. And still love Twitch, still watch streams every day, and still played World of Warcraft arenas and watched World of Warcraft arenas, which was something I was really, really into in the beginning of my Twitch journey, is World of Warcraft PvP. But after that 6 months off was when Friday the 13th, the game came out. And I moved back to Washington State from Alaska. I met up with a group of people that I made friends with, that I gamed with, and we just played Friday every night. And like, I was recently divorced and had no real social life, so every night I would go to work and I would come home and I would play Friday the 13th with my friends, and my friends were like, man, you're really funny and you're really entertaining, how come you don't stream? Because I was the guy that was in Discord cracking jokes and coming up with memes and stuff. I mean, I'm not trying to be braggadocious, but that's my personality. I'm very extroverted, very extra in general, right? So they're like, man, you just seem so much like a streamer. Why don't you stream? And I'm like, yeah, I tried streaming. I was ass at it. I don't want to do that anymore. Am I allowed to swear here, by the way? I didn't realize.
You've caught, yes.
Okay,
100%.
Okay, I'm not. I mean, I'm not. You know me. I'm not a sailor over here or anything. But every once in a while, I'll drop the A word, and I just want to make sure you're not going to have to spend a lot of time in post production. But
oh no, it is all good. It's encouraged.
Good. Okay, so anyways, they're like, oh, you're really funny. Why don't you stream? I said, yeah, I tried that. I sucked ass at it. It's not for me. I'm just not a good streamer. I'm just more of a good friend thing. And they're like, well, try it again, right? They kind of really egged me on. And so I started streaming, and those people that were my friends were in my chat. And then I just sort of like, for the small directory and niche directory, I sort of caught fire, and people were showing up. My stream was growing. I was getting followers. The chat was full.
So at that point, was that the most like viewers you probably had ever had?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When I was,
your friends were there supporting you.
Yeah, they started off. I was a 5-year Andy because there was 4 of my friends and my cell phone were in the chat, right? So like we were doing that, and then like people would come in because I was playing. I mean, those of you who are listening who played or are familiar, I would assume you're probably familiar with Friday the 13th, the game, but it was another of the killer survivor, ASIM style. There was a lot of like actual interaction between the two sides, the killer and survivor. The killers and counselors would like interact with people. We had open mics.
You had that
proximity
chat and open mic stuff. Yeah.
And so I got a lot of traffic just by having TTV in my name and like being funny when I was playing Jason or being funny when I was a counselor. People would come in, they would be like, "You're funny" or "You're interesting," and they would follow and they would stay. And some people would stay. And so if you look at, I mean, I can go back and I've done this before. Gone back and pulled the metrics like on Silly Gnome and watched how like I went from 2 to 5 to 10 to 20 to 30. Like as I was just kind of like growing steadily in the Friday the 13th directory. And yeah, at that point, like you said, I had never seen such growth, so I was super excited about that. And just before you even get to the next portion, I'll just tell you, then I quit my job again because I was an idiot and I was like, bro, look at all these people. I've got like
it was
30,
going well. Like,
yeah.
why not?
I have 30 people in my chat. I don't need a job anymore. I'm out of here. I'm just going to be a content. Finally, I made it. And, I quit.
You made it. Exactly.
Quit my job again. And then that was where I realized that, maybe I needed more that I needed to learn about streaming because I was kind of hard stuck between like 30, 40 people in Friday. And then the game died. And really, to me, I told it's funny though, and I'll say this in retrospect, another thing I've never said out loud before, but I'm just going to say it, man. Like there's a person that I know, Penguin Storm, friend of mine, who got partnered on Friday the 13th, like last year. And he's a Friday the 13th.
Oh, wow.
So for me to sit here and pretend like back then I couldn't have gotten partnered on it if I had really been good at what I was doing and tried hard and worked hard, like that's pretty disingenuous. Like there was a market there that I like was not ready to fill because I wasn't really all that good at streaming at that point. I still had so much to learn. But
yeah, it's good that now you recognize that, but back then obviously it was everything's popping off, and I know the feeling when it's all going well and it's everything. It just seems like it's going your way, and then something happens, or you kind of take a good look at it, and you think, oh yeah, actually I don't actually know really what I'm doing, and I'm kind of just winging it. And as you said, there's a lot more to learn. So, I guess, how did you tackle that after you realized that?
Oh man, it was a journey. Like I said, and I've talked about this before, at length. But basically, the TLDR version is I realized that there was not going to be an easy path on Friday because the game was dying. There was no more patches coming, so there's no more content to make in my eyes. So I made the jump to Dead by Daylight. I really didn't have an identity there. I just kind of did a lot of different things. I tried a lot of different things, and it's my personality to bounce from one thing to another. And
so was that natural progression because of playing Friday the 13th? It was like, well, Dead by Daylight's an ASIM.
Oh no, absolutely not. No. I started playing DBD in 2016, like before I ever played Friday. I played DBD casually.
So you were into it already.
I played DBD. I got my first. I'll pull receipts, bro. I got my first achievement. I got my first achievement June 2016, bro. I was a day one adopter of Dead by Daylight, the game. Awesome. I was a fan of the game. Yeah. I didn't think that it was good for me for a streaming game. I really enjoyed Friday because of all the interaction and the ability to use one of my strengths, which was to just like connect with people and interact with people and be silly and be self-deprecating and be whatever I needed to be in terms of like to make people laugh and have a good time, right? So Friday was a natural canvas for me to paint on. And that's what I learned when I made the jump is like, okay, wow, streaming actually is hard when you don't have like a bunch of random people to riff off of constantly. Like I have to actually just make content on my own now. That was
I actually remember you talking about it on stream kind of recently. You were talking because we were planning our Friday the 13th event with the stream team and everything, so you were kind of reminiscing a little bit, and you were talking about how all of a sudden going like from that big group of people where, like you said, you can riff off people, you can bounce off the energy, to being the only person sat in front of the camera by yourself essentially, and having to be the entertainment was it's obviously quite a big jump and quite a difference.
The real kick in the pants, buddy, let me tell you.
So I guess, as you said, you already played Dead by Daylight. Did you when you eventually changed from Friday the 13th to start playing Dead by Daylight on stream, was it Killer or Survivor that caught your eye, or was there something that I guess you adopted Dead by Daylight as soon as it came out, you said. So you're a natural horror fan. We know that. Well, I know that from stream, but you're a big horror fan. You're into all things horror, whether it's games, movies, TV shows, I'm sure. So I guess that's how you got into that. But you're a killer now, but was it always the case? Killer in the game, I should say, not anywhere else. Was it always killer, or was it kind of testing both stuff out when you first played?
So initially, when I started the game, I was a survivor main. I played a little bit of everything, but I was like, I played mostly survivor. I made the first jump to killer main when they released the Michael Myers chapter, the Halloween chapter, because I'm like I'm a huge Halloween fan. Like the series is like right up there in the upper echelon, right, of horror. I mean, to me, it's like the original Halloween is maybe the pinnacle of like horror movie, the horror genre. Like, I mean, it's really, to me, like it comes down to like that or Texas Chainsaw Massacre as like the best horror movie of all time, in my opinion. Obviously, it's totally subjective, but so for me, like for them to release Michael Myers in the game, like that was like the first big license they got. That was just like, wow, this is like a legit game. Like this is a Michael Myers game now. So I dove right into Myers, and you know, luckily for me as a player, Myers was like busted when he first came out. So I was like, yeah, not only is Myers in the game, but I'm amazing at this video game. And so I had
exactly, such a good feeling.
I had a ton of fun with that. But when I actually made the jump to streaming DVD, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, man. Like I can't really remember. I'm pretty sure I started off as a killer main, because I mean I've always been a killer main, and then because I didn't want to stream with other people. I talk about it a lot, and you know personally about it. But I'm like neurodivergent. I have really bad ADHD, and I have a lot of issues with. I have like a lot of weird eccentricities about the way that my brain works, and so I have struggled so much in my streaming career with like change. And ironically enough, when I'm riffing off people, like in the day of the Friday the 13th days, it was like I was riffing off people. There was no consequence. It was like, I don't know how to explain it. There was no pressure. It just happened naturally. Yeah, But like when you get into a voice call and you're like gaming with somebody and you're streaming, like there's like some level of pressure there. And that was really hard for me as a content creator to do at first. Like obviously, you know, now I've been doing this for like 5 years, and I can definitely I can stream with somebody else and have a conversation and manage a chat and do all this. That's manageable for me now. But like when I was getting started, this is back, you know, I made the jump to DVD in 2018. So this is almost 4 years ago. It was like, I think it was January, February 2018 timeframe that I made the DVD jump. So back then I was still very, very underexperienced. And so I was naturally gravitated towards killer, because then I wouldn't have to I only had to worry about me. I didn't have to talk to anybody else. I didn't have to manage anything else. I could just worry about me. And then everybody looks at the directory and sees like, well, there's more survivors than killers. So, you know, this is a market inefficiency, quote unquote. So I'm pretty sure when I made the jump, I started off killer primarily.
And then Myers obviously was your favorite killer that, you know, in terms of the horror series and everything there. Well, I guess we can kind of jump forward to now in terms of where you're at. So in my opinion, one of the best killers that I personally haven't gone against you before, but obviously we're in different regions. But from what I've seen, you know, you can definitely hold your own against the the sweatiest of the sweat. And you know, you can also have fun with those off meta builds and kind of enjoy, you know, really enjoy yourself no matter what you're doing. So I guess it kind of leads into the past as well, but was there a point where you knew you were good at this game exactly, or gaming in general, or you just like you've just always kind of naturally learnt things and gaming better than others, or was it something you had to actually work at?
I mean, it's definitely something I've had to work at. I don't know. Like, I don't really consider myself to be like, I mean, I think by virtue of the fact that I have so many hours and so much experience, I think that like I am above average. Like I think that the average killer player probably doesn't have 9,000 hours and doesn't have at least 24 hours on every killer that comes. You know, I do a 24-hour stream on every killer that comes out. Like I organically week one have like 30 hours on the new killer typically. Like, and you know, some people can only play 30 hours a month. So
exactly.
I think just by virtue of what I do for a living and like all that things, I will be above average. I mean, I've humbled myself a lot by playing competitive DBD and realizing that like the guys that like are really, really insanely good at this game are like on another level from like what you see in pub games and stuff. And so I would say like, I mean, I have a hard time like calling myself incredible. Like I think I'm above average. I think I'm a good player. I think I have games where I play like I'm one of the best killers in the game, and I think I have games where I'm like, I really wish that I didn't turn the camera on today. You know, I just
Yeah, yeah.
and then so the thing is like I like to. It's always like I always feel like it's always like a cop out to be like I'm an entertainer, not a a professional gamer. But like that's the reality. Like I am an entertainer. I am more concerned with having fun and laughing and the chat having fun. And I feel like one of my biggest strengths as a creator is like I don't miss much in chat, even while playing killer at a pretty high level. Like
I can definitely agree with that. It's always flowing. There's always something going on. There's always something coming out of your mouth, but towards chat usually.
Yeah.
So you're definitely keeping up, and that's one of the best parts of watching your streams.
Yeah. So like in terms of, do I think I'm like one of the best? Or you said when did I realize that I was good, or it's like I don't think I was ever like. I think I've always been a consumer of content, and I've always been a studier, and I've always been, I've always like, I'm a knower in a lot of ways. Like I watch people play, I watch people stream. I before I ever streamed DVD, I watched a ton of streamers on DVD. I used to consistently watch a few, like one of them, I don't know if you're familiar with, I don't know if it's cool for me to talk about other creators here, but like,
it's fine. We talk about everyone. That's all good.
If you know about Unums or Unums, he was one of the he was like a big time inspiration for me back in the day. Like he played killer, and this is back in the OG days before I ever streamed. He was one of my inspirations to like start streaming. And in the beginning was like he played this game and was like so like fun to watch and good at it, and like so I've consistently always like watched a lot of people play if I'm into a game, I watch the game, and so then I just like learn from that too. Like I've learned a lot just from watching Tofu and watching Scott Jun and watching Unums, watching all these guys, and then back then True Talent I watched a ton, like learning how to play the game. And so like I have all that knowledge, and then I stream, and then I also play the game off stream. I guess I just like I just over consume, and then like I just learn enough to like get by or be better than average. But I primarily focus on creating entertaining content. Like I went through a phase. I'm just going to be real about this. Is another thing that I've talked about on stream a lot, but like when SBMM first came out, we're going to talk about that soon, I'm sure. But when skill-based matchmaking 100%. First dropped, I went through a phase where I was like, you know what? I'm going to get with the times. I'm going to start running meta builds, and I'm going to start really focusing on being a good killer. I want to be known as one of the best killers. And I did that for like a month. And I think that my content suffered from it. And I think that my mental health suffered from it. Like I did not have a lot of fun. I got really frustrated when I lost. I got like, I didn't have as much focus on chat as I like. I just honestly, like, you have to be honest about especially when it comes to content creation, like finding your strengths and like what really makes you happy. Because like, if you don't just like lean on that, it won't work out. Like, I don't think I make it another year being a 4 slowdown Andy that like needs to 4K every game to feel good about himself. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that I would survive as a content creator, because I don't think I would have fun and be happy. And I think when I'm not having fun and being happy, it's probably true that my chat is also not having fun and being happy. So.
Yeah, it's the kind of balance. You got to find that sweet balance between having fun and being good at the game, and then also, you're mainly doing that entertainment side of things. So it's cool that you can recognize these things, and it really helps out as being the part, the leader with Dan of the GG gamers. It really helps people like myself and Ganny and D. It helps us see when we can see that our leaders, or the people that they're inspiring us, can like self-reflect and look at their own streams and look at kind of what is working and what's not working. It helps us try and do the same thing, and get that. Like, we're lucky we've got that learning experience straight from you guys. You guys might not have had that when you first started, so it's really cool to, I guess, be a part of being able to not only watch you, but be beside you in terms of getting that first-hand experience. Obviously, we haven't delved fully into the potential of the GG gamers yet, but we're all there and we're all raring to go. So yeah, it is really, really cool to see people just reflect on themselves and to actually identify, because one of the things that really gets me is when people are just blind to things because they don't self-reflect and they don't, not criticize, but they won't have that kind of critical thinking of whether it's streaming or whether it's just in life. They don't kind of like acknowledge that they might be, the things that they're doing might actually be leading to their detriment. So obviously you would have known that through the things that you've gone through in your life so far. But I feel like that blindness can really, really affect people, both streaming and not streaming. So I think it's really cool that all that can come from just sometimes people learn that through playing a game, and that's kind of why I love gaming itself, because if you can learn how to be a better person just simply by playing a game and, having or streaming and stuff like that, it's really, really cool because, I've come from and I'm sure you're the same, like we've come from the times where gaming is not it's a loser thing to do. You're going nowhere if you game. It's a waste of time. And then now I guess people that create content and even people that just consume it are really showing the world that it's not something that's a waste of time. It's valuable and it can teach you so much. And even your positivity in your community, I love to be positive both about the game but also just streaming in general. I think that there's too many people that, I even tweeted about it today, there's just too many people that are trying to bring each other down all the time instead of bringing people up. Obviously you should call people out when they do things wrong or bad or whatever, but there's just so many people that just shit on people constantly. And I went through that in high school. Like, I had friends that would basically bring me down to make themselves feel better all the time. And I just got used to that and was like, okay, this is just a normal thing that friends do. And then I had really good friendships and I was like, wow, these people are bringing me up all the time and I'm bringing them up all the time. And I realized that that's actually how it's meant to be. And I feel like that's the kind of Twitch community and like streaming community that you create, and by and large, I want to create as well. And yeah, I don't know, I just love being a part of what you've created so far, and I give you massive props to what you've been through. I'm not trying to, stroke your ego too much. But...
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, you do that plenty with all the DMs and the calls and the flower baskets and the chocolates and whatnot. But no, I would just to cut in on that. First of all, I didn't know you put out a Twitter burner today. I got to go check that out. But no, I'm with you. Like the thing is that there's different types of positivity and there's different types of like in content. Like a lot of people will lean on positivity as a brand. And it not actually be like real is the problem. Exactly. And the thing is, like, the realest positivity you can have is if like once in a while you get real fucking mad or like real annoyed, like, because like it's real. I'm a really positive guy and I still sometimes get frustrated. I still sometimes mauled on stream because the games are really sweaty. Like, and it's because like I'm not positive as a brand. I'm not like plus vibes, bro. Like that's not me. Exactly. Like I'm actually like a real human being, and I do shade on and I get made fun of it about it all the time. Like whatever, you just like everything, because I'm like a generally positive, optimistic, like shiny side of the penny kind of guy. Like this is who I am. It's literally at my core of my personality. And so whether I'm frustrated or not, like I'm still happy. I'm still generally happy, still generally looking on the bright side. And that's the kind of, I think that a lot of the times people that try to lean on positivity as a brand are maybe doing it more for the brand than organically, in which point you start to kind of see through, I'm not going to call anyone out specifically, or I'm not even going to call it behaviors because I don't even want people to consider the option that this is a subtweet, right? But like, there just are people out there that they'll have wholesome in the title and they'll have positive vibes required in the little rules when you click on the Twitch chat. But then when you see how they interact with other human beings in the post game chat, you're like, man, you're saying one thing and you're doing another, and that exactly is not. It's not. Yeah,
in the Australian community, I don't know and we're not going to get into like a whole Twitch bashing thing or anything like that, but I feel like it's important to talk to, especially relating to Dead by Daylight, because recently more so there is a lot of talk and there's a lot of this, but with the skill-based matchmaking coming out and things that are changing and or the game's always evolving, there's always going to be backlash. But I feel like people have slowly, and this is the internet, have forgotten that there's a person on the other side, whether it's a game or on the other. Even when you can see someone on a face cam, like people forget that that's a real person. It's not just a robot. Like you said, it's real feelings. So
Yeah.
I think that it is important to talk about. And in the OCE community, there is a real there is a really great, amazing side of streaming and Dead by Daylight content creation, but there is a really, really like toxic, disgusting side, I would go as far as saying, where if it's not done exactly their way, then you basically suffer the wrath of all of these different groups and all of this different stuff, and you eventually learn to get past that. But my biggest fear is that I'm streaming. I can take criticism, I can take trolls, I can take the people coming in and saying hurtful stuff or whatever. Like I can deal with that because I've done it. You can deal with it. You've done it. When you've done it for a while, you just know how to experience it. My fear is that in game, people talk to people in the in-game chat, like you said, and some people get really personal, even though they don't know that person, and they just tear people down. And I want people to continue playing this game for a long time. Years. And I don't want people that just start the game to just kind of like get brought down all the time for playing a certain killer or using a certain perk or things like that. So I do think that yes, there is that false positivity where you're doing it for the brand, but I think it is really important to have people that are just will get flustered, and I get flustered, but that people that will show the truth and the honest truth and both sides. But if someone plays that game and has a really bad experience, and then they go to a stream and they go, okay, I'm going to watch the streamer because maybe they don't go through these bad experiences, and I can ask them or whatever, and then you see that streamer just like shitting on other people as well, that person's going to be like, okay, well this game is just filled with terrible people, and I'm not going to play anymore.
It's kind of one of those situations, right, where like you got to be like responsible with your platform in the sense that like you said, somebody new comes in and sees this like terrible behavior, and then like they end up getting that behavior reinforced by a content creator. And then I feel like the two paths they can take are rejection of the content and like moving on, being like, okay, well, this game's toxic, I'll go play something else, or falling in line with that. And then now you just created another drone in the complaint army or in the molding army. And again, like you don't have to just like everything or just deal with everything. Like there's a big difference between, being constructively and just irrationally negative and critical. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't want to be on a soapbox or pretend like I'm perfect, because I lose my temper. I get frustrated. I complain about things now and again. But I would say that like I don't see there being a large scale solution to the problems of like negativity and toxicity and all the other idiots that are bad ones, because like that's just society in the world at this point. Like our best bet is to create a place when it comes to our content and it comes to our communities, create a place where like we provide a positive, constructive example of like the community we want to see, and just understand that like we can't control anyone or anything else but ourselves. I know in my community, I'm in charge, and in my post game chat, I don't get to control what they say to me, but I can control what I say to them. And I like to have a lot of fun with post game chat. Like especially when they're mad, like I'll kind of be like memey. I'll like act like I'm confused about what they're mad about, or like when they complain about something, I will legitimately like pretend like I don't understand what they're saying and like make them over explain, just because like I have a lot of fun with it. But I mean, I can assure you, I would put my life on the line that you will not be able to go in any VOD on the internet that exists and find me personally attacking somebody in a post-game chat. It's like never happened. I've never done it in my life. Yeah. It's just not a thing I would ever do. And I'm not, again, this isn't my soapbox moment where I'm like, I'm better than everyone else, because I have mauled it. I have gotten frustrated. I have, complained about teams being sweaty or complained about, God, like literally 2 nights ago, I was like, God, I hope these guys are getting fucking paid for how hard they're playing right now. Like, Jesus, how much money are they getting? How much money are you getting paid for this one? Because they're sweating their asses off. And then I came back later and I was like, yeah, I was just being a baby because I was losing, and losing sucks, so, but I guess like our best bet is to continue to decide what kind of community we want to exist within, and then create that one, and then hope that we, by virtue of being like, kind and fun and silly, will create more people with those kind of mindsets. And again, this is not a flex, but I get people constantly in my chat, constantly in my community. New people will come in and be like, man, I don't know how you stay so calm. How do you stay so chill? Like your goals, man, like your attitude is goals. Like, I don't know how you're so calm and chill. And like, they'll like, I've had people that have reached out to me and been like, man, because of you, like, because of your community and your stream, like I have like learned to not fucking rage at DVD. Like I can play and just enjoy myself, and not like,
or at least you control it. Like it doesn't just because it's in your head, it doesn't mean it has to come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
So there's times where I'm like, in my head, I'm like, if I was looking at myself right now, I can see that I'm visibly molding right now.
Yep.
But then my stream is telling me and saying, wow, as you said, like you're staying calm. And I'm just like, there is no calmness in my head right now. But I'm not lying by, or I'm not being fake by like not having that come out of my mouth. It's just the things that I want to say, it just better not said. So I just continue playing the game.
You'll get those comments. You'll get the comments that are like, man, how are you not so upset? And like in your head, there's like an exploding fire truck. And you're just like, yeah, man, just having a good ass time, dude. I don't know. I'm like, no. And so it's definitely, and I'll be honest. I'll be like, yeah, I'm frustrated right now for sure. But like, is lashing out and being angry going to help? No, I'm going to play like ass. I'm going to hurt someone's feelings. I'm going to make myself look like a giant man-child. No. So it's not being fake. It's being like, it's literally like displaying you defeating your inner demons, like live on stream, right? Like it's your
impressive
gut
honestly.
Reaction.
I think it's
gut reaction to lose your mind. And you're like, I'm fighting it, and I don't know, but it's overall, it's good. It's good for us. It's good for us as creators. It's good for the people that are watching. It's good for the community. And again, I'm not some sort of like, I'm not pretending that I'm like good attitude Jesus out here going to convert the masses. Like, we're not going to fix gaming culture. Just the two, you and I,
one podcast at a time. We've got this.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Give us 6 months, bro. And we're going to have internet malding and toxicity gone. No, but like, that shouldn't, if everybody like collectively committed to it, like we could fix it. Right. But like, you can only control you. So we get to control us and be a good influence. And if at the very least be a safe haven, for people to go to. I mean, I've had people that are like, yo, I go from stream to stream and it's just like bitching and moaning and complaining. And then I come here and it's just like, it's just nice to be somewhere where like the content isn't just complaining. And
it's laughing, it's smiling.
Yeah, it's laughing, smiling, it's talking, making light of
something.
Things. And again, I taste a lot of the other side of it, which is that, oh, well, of course you're Mr. Positive, you're Fog Whisperer, of course. Blah, blah, blah. Like I get a lot of like accusations on like the how real my positivity is. And I've been accused of being fake, but it's like, I've been a Fog Whisperer now for what, 4 months, maybe 6 months.
Yeah,
I don't remember. Yeah. Dude, time is fake. But I've been a positive person in the DVD community for years. So I've always been this way.
It's not like you didn't just turn it on because you're like, hey, I'm a Pog Dog Whisperer, I'm a Fog Whisperer now. Like, I'm turning on the positivity switch. Time to only say good things about the game. Like,
exactly.
That's not you. So,
no.
I mean, we can definitely continue. There's 2 more things that I kind of want to like touch on. The Fog Whisperer thing is actually something I wanted to ask you about. Do you use the Fog Whisperer charm when you play?
Absolutely, I do. You gotta flex it, bud. You gotta flex
I'm glad,
it
because you have to.
Yeah.
Do you find that does it ever change? Well, I guess, did you notice it? Is there any visible noticeable difference from when you used it to when you didn't use it?
Yeah, so
I was just a little thought of mine.
Very funny, but it's happened a lot more recently. But there are like literally 2 things that can happen. There's only 2 things that can happen if they know,
Okay,
if they recognize it. Because like a lot of people don't know what it is, so that's just a wash, right? But if they recognize it, 1 of 2 things. Oh my God, I'm so excited I played against a Fog Whisperer. You're so awesome, thank you, right? Or oh my God, what a piece of shit. They should take it away from you because you're terrible. And that literally happened to me the other night. Somebody literally, a team, literally like dogpiled me in post-game chat to be like, you hit me on the hook. You're not a representative of this game. You should get your Fog Whisperer taken away. You're fucking disgusting. And like, and they just dogpiled me. It was so funny. And that's happened to me more than once. Like I'll be like, wow, you should be ashamed, Fog Whisperer, and you camp like that. Oh man, you should be. So that's the only 2 options. Either they like get starstruck about it, like as if I'm somebody, which I'm not a big deal. It's just a guy. You know, I just been playing the game for a long time. They probably just looked at their returns. They're like, dude, this guy's literally spent like $10,000 on cosmetics. We should probably give him a fucking in-game charm and whatever.
Time invested versus money invested.
We'll add him to the fucking Discord just because he's been around forever, you know. But I either get people that like completely pog out and think it's the coolest thing that they played against the Fog Whisperer, or they think that I'm the worst person of all time because I camped and I have a Fog Whisperer every time. So that's it. That's all you get.
I mean, I was just curious because we don't have too many Fog Whisperers in we're getting a few more in the OCE community, but obviously Geef is our big one that we've had for a while. And, you know, when Geef was playing DBD, I've gone against him a couple of times, and, you know, he plays pretty interestingly sometimes. Like, you know, there was a time where he knew who I was and he had me on the ground and he was just ringing his Wraith bell over my head, just playing me the song with his people. And some people could have looked at that and gone, he's being so toxic, like he's leaving you on the ground. But at the end of the game, you know, he just said, GG lads. It was a fun one. Like, he didn't let me bleed out or anything, but everyone has their own fun, and I definitely believe you that there's only 1 of 2 ways that it goes. Yep. Hopefully it's more positive most of the time. But
I mean, I'm guilty of it too, though. I'm guilty of it too. Like, I played against Scorpions back before I was a Fog Whisperer. I don't even remember if I was a Twitch partner yet at that point, but I played against Scorpions on the PTB one time. You know, Scorpions, he's a Fog Whisperer. Like, everybody knows him as like this insane pig player, which is accurate. He is insane as pig. But I played against him. I played against this pig on the PTB, like I said, it could have even been before I was partners so long ago. And I was starstruck. I was like, what? Fog Whisperer icon? What? No way. Who is it? And I was all excited. Talking to my chat. I had like probably 40 people or whatever. I'm like, guys, who is it? Who's it going to be? Poggers? Like, I was so stoked. And then like, it's Scorpions. At the end of the game, like, no way. And then fast forward and like we get to hang out in the same Discord and stuff. And it's funny because like I see people do it. I do it. I did it. And now, to me, it's not that big of a deal, but for them, it's like a huge thing sometimes to play.
Of course.
And then, of course, like I think that's awesome, and that to me is like super flattering and humbling. And then I'm like always super nice about it, like, oh yeah, dude, what's up? Come on by.
Yeah, exactly.
I just think it's cool. It's a weird thing to have someone be like super excited to play against me in a game, because I'm just like still kind of consider myself to be like clown, right? A goofy dude. I just go play the
just
game.
Playing the game.
And I say GG game at the end, and people are like, what the fuck does that mean, right? And then like,
oh my god, I started saying that in like our region, and people get so confused. Yeah. they off good game.
That's why I invented that. I invented that when I first started streaming.
I love it.
In 2016, that was like the one good thing that came out of my first streaming run, is that I would say GG game to confuse people in post-game chat when I was playing Heroes of the Storm. The Blizzard MOBA was my first ever game that I streamed. And I just started saying it to fuck with people. And then fast forward to now, and I have like an emote, and like, people know that's my kind of like my thing that I say in post-game chat. It's just like some stupid little... I did that shit before I was a streamer. Like, it was just because I thought it was funny for people to be like, wait, what? Like, get confused.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I haven't completely taken it, but I say it every now and then.
Yeah, you feel free. As long as
it definitely confuses people.
Yeah.
They're just like, why are you saying good game?
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
As long as you use it for good instead of evil, Deaxz, you can use it for as long as you want, dude. You go out there. Anybody listening, feel free. Let's get the movement started, man.
Get the GG game going.
GG gamers, we enjoy the catchphrase being tossed around, so...
Exactly. The last thing that obviously we all know that you can talk the house down. I think we're both we can kind of pounds off each other and see what's what. But in terms of doing that, you were doing some casting recently. I don't know if you've done any like very, very recently, but I was watching you a couple of months ago doing some casting. Is that something that you had always been interested in, or is it something you're planning to do more of in the future?
Absolutely. So shoutcasting is something that I have dreamed of doing.
Sorry, shoutcasting.
Yeah, shoutcasting, casting. Competitive casting and hosting is something that I was passionate about before I was ever even going to try to be a streamer. Like I used to shoutcast for this little indie grassroots comp league for Heroes of the Storm called Chair League. And that's like where I first got my, like I first dipped my toe into the idea of competitive casting. And yeah, before I ever thought I could be a streamer, I wanted to be a shoutcaster. I was like, that'd be such a cool job. Because I mean, I love competition, but I don't like to be super competitive. So it's like it kind of bridges the gap between my strengths and my passions, right? Because like I love esports. Like I went to the Heroes of the Dorm finals. They actually held those in Seattle. And so this was years ago, but I was able to actually go.
I remember those.
And go in person. I got to go in person to the grand finals of Heroes of the Dorm and like watch competitive gaming happen live. I took one of my kids with me. It was like such a cool experience. And
that's awesome.
So yeah, so for me, I love shoutcasting, and that's something that like I can tell you right now, my shoutcasting career hasn't even gotten started yet. Like I will shoutcast again. Like I'm dipping my toes now in competitive DBD. I'm playing for a team. I'm on the Cerebral Assassins with our teammate, that one guy D, and a ragtag group of like wholesome memers.
Unlikely heroes.
Well, yeah, because like we're not your normal comp team. Like none of us. We have a couple of guys that have comp experience, but like a lot of us are on our first comp team, and we're all like, we prioritize like being good sports and like being a healthy part of the comp community, like way ahead of like being the best. Like we could definitely bring in people. We could definitely shift the roster around. I could leave and we could bring in like some really good killer players, right? But like we're kind of more growing together and learning together. And like no matter what, we're gonna like show up early and we're gonna field a team. We're gonna GG. We're gonna do all the things that you're supposed to do. We're gonna make our mark in a positive way. We want people to like smile or be happy to know that like we're a part of the comp community. And so it's been a really fun ride. But do I ultimately think I'm going to win a world championship in DBD, even if DBD esports took off? Like, I don't think that that's me. Like, I think that I can be a strength. I can help my team now. Like, if I didn't think I was helping my team, I would leave. But I think that like my future with competitive, if competitive continues to like grow and flourish, would definitely be in like the casting hosting capacity, because like that's I think a strength of mine. I mean, you just mentioned it, but like you and I are both people that we've got the gift of gab. We can talk, and when we're passionate about something, when I'm passionate about something, I won't shut the fuck up about it. Like I can't stop.
Exactly.
And so for me, like shoutcasting is like a natural thing. Like sit down and like watch these guys play at the highest level, and like like I said, I'm a knower. I soak things up, and then I just like regurgitate that, and I don't know. It's so yeah. I was casting at that point with a league that I'm no longer associated with. I left that league, and
you did leave that league. Okay, yeah. I was wondering. I hadn't seen you, so
yeah. No, I left that league, and it was like myself and two other people that were partnered together, a team of three, and two of us left the league, and we're no longer associated really. But and then I kind of at that point. I just said, okay, I'm going to lean into playing some and see what I think about that. And so I've been doing that. But yeah, I'm definitely open to the idea. If there's anybody listening right now that is looking for shoutcasting, I'll be honest with you. I've kind of dropped the ball on a couple opportunities to shoutcast since then. I've gotten offers and just kind of didn't follow through on it. And so that's something that I need to really kind of dial in on. But I just went off on a tangent. But the long story short is, I love shoutcasting. I think I'm naturally good at it and could get great at it if I really like worked on it. And my future as a caster and a host in comp like is not done. Like I can promise you that, Dead by Daylight is my main game and will remain my main game stream wise until it's no longer a viable streaming option, because my passion for the game I think is clear by this point. But
yes.
I will 100% at some point have to move on. Like DBD is not going to last another 30 years, and I'm not going to retire in 5. So the next game that I get involved in is going to have some sort of esports team, because I am going to get involved not only in streaming and creating content, but like in shoutcasting and hosting and like being involved, coaching, mentoring, whatever. What I love esports. I think that esports are the future of video games. I think that we're seeing it now as our horror party game has a skill-based matchmaker. Like the future is going to be in competitive gaming. It just is. And it's an industry that's going to continue to grow, and that's where the money is going to be. And I would love to be around during that like renaissance where like it becomes like mainstream. Like there's projections that say that like esports are going to be bigger than hockey in like 3 to 5 years, as far as like in the US being the earning potential in esports will be higher than the National Hockey League in like 3 to 5 years. So,
I don't disagree. So,
and it's not, and I just said a bunch of things about earnings and shit, but it's not about money. It's just about like how awesome would it be to be involved like in the esports renaissance, where like esports rises up to be like an actual force in society as like competitive sport.
It's mainstream, like it's that big, but it's sport. It's esports, but it's out there like sports.
Yeah,
are these days.
exactly.
So I think that I agree with that. I also realize that I'm just sitting here nodding my head because I get so engrossed in what you say, and then I realize this is an audio only podcast and no one can see me nodding my head. So I really enjoy hearing you talk about the game. We've talked so much about I guess what's brought us to the game, what's brought you to the game. You did mention that buzzword just before, SBMM, skill-based matchmaking. So I think we just rip the lid off and dive straight in and see what we've got going on. I did talk about it on the last podcast, but skill-based matchmaking is well and truly here now in Dead by Daylight. So basically, as you said, this the little party game that we have now has a way to determine if you are good or bad at the game, technically. So this is very, very interesting, and I'm going to straight away say that my thoughts on the skill-based matchmaking so far, being in a smaller region, I'm not sure if this has impacted it or not, but I have not really felt too much of a crazy difference in terms of my games on both the killer and survivor side. Skill-based matchmaking has actually got me into playing killer more because I'm trying out different killers because of the different ratings that you have for each killer. So it relieves that a little bit of stress that you get when you do try out a new killer and you're going to be paired up against high-level players or people that are going to absolutely dumpster you. But Survivor, me, I'm mainly playing Survivor these days. I really hadn't seen super big differences. The only thing that I really experienced tonight that I noticed was perks. So the perks and the meta as we have it in DBD was just the same. Every game was the same list of slowdowns. Like you were saying how you were on that 4 slowdown meta for that first month. That's pretty much exactly what I was experiencing going against as a survivor. But what about you? How have you playing a lot of killer? How have your games been since the skill-based matchmaking?
Okay, so I'm just gonna say it, like, I have never experienced the amount of fucking perspiration that I experienced when I played Dead by Daylight Killer in the West region from like between midnight and 1 a.m. until between 2 and 3 a.m. Like, I swear to God, it's these guys are all like getting paid to play. They got fucking Mountain Dew sponsorships. They've got guys driving a Bugatti paid for by his organization. Like, it's insane. But
screaming in public matches.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I literally the other day on stream, I was chasing. I literally chased this person for like, I felt like no time at all. She threw her first pallet and 3 gens popped.
Oh my goodness.
And somebody from that game actually came to my chat afterwards and was like, yo, you got so unlucky because we all spawned on a solo gen and just started started them immediately. And so, in under a minute chase, 3 gens were popped. Like however long. I mean, I think it's 80 seconds for gens.
Crazy.
It was like the exact amount of time. Like they all 3 spawned in on gens and just like ripped them. And I literally just like walked into the basement and threw up my just chatting screen. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit down here and we'll talk. We'll just talk about our days, chat. Like and that's fine though. I'm not mad about it. I wasn't mad about it. And they came in the chat and we had a funny convo and it was fine. I think that the average match, though, for me is, I would say, a little bit harder than it was before. But I mean, I'm still not struggling. And so I told you that I went all slowdowns at first, and that was because I was like insecure about the fact that I'm a content creator and like, oh, I can't get dunked. If I got matches like that one that I just told you about every game, I would have to either conform or die. Like it would not work. Because those games are like unwinnable if I'm not playing a meta killer with slowdowns. Like it's not, there's no way you win that without either running a meta killer with slowdowns, hard camping and getting altruism kills, or playing basically you have to play super scummy or run like super crutchy stuff to win those games. Because those guys are playing like it's a tournament game and they're running like all meta builds and they're running map offerings to get a map that they've already got the tiles memorized and like, the tile sets, different possible tile sets. Like they're calling out tile numbers in games. Like these guys are like really, really good at the game and they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything wrong. But if I actually had to face that constantly, I would not be able to just like, and the thing is that like, I'm getting more of that always, but it's like that 2-hour block for some reason is like, that's the only people that are playing. Is just like,
I have the same thing happen in my region, in the OCE region. Basically, when I'm playing Survivor, the queues get really, really fast for Survivor at like 2 a.m. And then I think that's when a lot of survivors jump off, and then there's just the sweat killers that are left on. And those games between like 2 and 4 a.m. for me as a survivor are usually the hardest because, I don't always play with a team. I'm like solo queuing or a couple of people from stream with me, and we're just kind of chilling out and talking to chat and playing the game, and then that's when you get the 4 slowdown Andes that we know where you jump off a gen and it's ruin, it's undying, it's pop, it's corrupt, it's all, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like you said, these people are just playing the game, and hey, I have run builds like that, you've run builds like that. They're just trying to have fun in their own way. But I've noticed that kind of like 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. time has kind of crept. It's slowly like kind of crept to maybe 12, 1 a.m. Like it's slowly creeping to where it's becoming more normal.
Yeah.
But in saying that, the last 2 weeks it's been completely crazy. Like it's been the Wild West. I've had the randomest games. So I don't know if you have had any difference in the last 2 weeks, but my games have been absolutely insane. I've had games where if I play solo queue, I know that I'm like the top MMR, and I get put with 3 players that are the lowest MMR. And then the system thinks that we're even because you've got 3 kind of like low players, and then me bringing them up to medium, and then it puts us against a medium level killer. If that medium level killer chases me at the start of the game, they just they lose the game because the other survivors just jump on gens and stuff. So it's been crazy since it's come out. I'm still enjoying the game, luckily, but I don't know. I am interested to kind of hear what you think will continue to happen if the game continues going the route that it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really speak too much to the Survivor. I've only played in the last 2 weeks a handful of Survivor matches, but what I've noticed...
Oh, killer stuff. I'm interested to hear about your killer stuff.
Oh,
too,
okay.
bro.
Well, no, I'll go over both, but I'll just give you the quick for the Survivor is that I've noticed that like my teammates are pretty good and the killers are pretty good. Like I feel like for me personally, my experience is the MMR works really well for Survivor. I'm solo queue, but I think my MMR is high because my teammates tend to be really good, and the killer tends to be really good, and the games tend to feel really fun for me on Survivor. Yep. Like I feel like my teammates are competent. They're making saves. They're doing gens. They're looping the killer well. The killer doesn't. I haven't faced a killer who like just hard tunnels one person for 3 or 4 gens, like just commits to a chase because they know, like they break off during safe tiles. Like the killers seem smart. Survivors seem smart. The Survivor experience seems good for me. Killer side, my games are pretty... like I said before, like a little bit harder than usual sometimes. And then like, I don't ever get like just complete, like I don't get those games anymore where you're like, wow, you have no idea how to play the game. Like sometimes I'll get a survivor who will just seem really clueless or like really bad or really like brand new. But for the most part, like there are no just really easy games. Like I think
like
I'll maybe one, I play 8 hours a day, and maybe like once or twice a day I'll get a game where I will 4K at like 3 or 4 gens, sometimes 5. A 5 gen game is very rare now, which before MMR and before SSBM I would get a lot of games where we just like would 4-man slug with 5 gens up, or like I don't know, we would steamroll a game, especially because I play a lot of Leatherface. I was doing speedrun attempts back then where I would like literally get 4Ks in like 3 minutes. So I don't think I could do that at all now. I think that if I went for speedruns, it might actually be worth testing that. Like
it probably is cool to test.
Try running like speedrun builds and see how fast. But I mean, the level of competency in the average game has gone up, but it's really that 2-hour block, 3-hour block that's like insane. And so what I've been doing is either playing only Nurse and Blight during those hours, or just like playing Leatherface and Sidious and just like giving into the fact that I'm just going to be a scumbag and like, just let my MMR stagnate for a couple hours.
I saw your latest short that you did on YouTube was a Leatherface camping one.
Yeah.
And I saw the like to dislike ratio on that video. And it just shows how much people just can't really like get on board with a game, just where sometimes it's not going to go their way in terms of like a Leatherface insidious like camping killer, just like you're having a bit of fun with it, because it seems like people were not happy about
I haven't even looked at that yet, but it's pretty funny. I mean, it is what it is, like I don't know, it's just a meme, and again, it only works if they make mistakes, but it's just one of those things. Like the reason why like I've kind of been leaning more on the insidious Leatherface is I tried running like Nurse and Blight, but I'm even getting teams now that are like cracked enough that like that is like I have to like really
play perfect.
You just play perfect to get like a 2K, and like there's the map, and it's like they're bringing map offerings for like Red Forest, like the big maps, and they're bringing Haddonfield offerings. Then if you dodge, it's like a 10-minute wait for another game. Then when you get into the game, it's just like, I mean, I scrimmage twice a week with my comp team. I'm already like having to sweat and stress, like, and so it's like it's a privileged position that I find myself in though, because like again, I think SSBM overall is like better for the game than bad for it. I just think that people like myself who have got 9,000 hours and we play 60 to 80 hours a week, like it's natural that I'm gonna win a lot of games and I'm gonna end up just at the high end of most of the MMR spectrums because I play a lot and I win a lot, and it's just, I mean, and again, there's quite a few content creators have talked about the fact that like now they're finding the bulk of their games is just people that are playing super optimally. They're pre-dropping every pallet. When you go to check gens, that when you get to that 16 meter mark, they're running to the corner. They get their spine shield procs and they run to the corner and hide. Like you're just having to play like pretty much perfect. And it's a necessary evil, I think, for the because again, I asked this question a lot, and I really haven't heard a strong answer to it, but like, which is worse, me as a 9,000 hour, killer expert, quote unquote, having to work a lot harder in my matches, or some poor bastard with 200 hours getting me in a game because the MMR, there's no MMR, like some poor little innocent dude who's got like 300 hours, like I'm going to sit down and play some DVD, and they get in, and then it's like against a dude who's like played for a million years. Oh man, I think that you're going to have a lot more if there was no MMR in the game. If there was if it was just right back to the old matchmaker, I think you're going to have a lot more cases where an underprepared survivor faces a really, really good killer more often than you're going to have a killer who doesn't, who, you know what I'm saying? Who's going to get like, I mean, even then, like, I don't really get overwhelmed. I just have to play in a way that I'm not really preferring to play.
yeah, you kind of have to change up that play style a little bit.
Yeah.
And you might not want to do that. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching a lot of content creators, both streaming and on YouTube, and their kind of thoughts. And the one consensus, kind of reiterating what you're saying, is that MMR is not, or SBMM is not. It's not for the higher tier players. We know that as higher MMR or longer hour players, it's not for us. It's not to make our games. I mean, it does help with our games, but it's for the middle, the two, your 300-hour Dwights that you've got that are jumping in lockers still when they hear the killer.
Yeah.
It's for them to have a more enjoyable experience. And the big problem, I think, that is kind of like coming in with it now is that you are finding those bigger creators are having the problems where you're saying you go up against those squads between that 2-hour block. There's killers, like you've said, they're going up against that non-stop, and it's just becoming completely unenjoyable. And I know that survivors kind of have the same thing. I'm really lucky, kind of lucky and kind of unlucky. I have a no, not unlucky. I have a guy in my community. He loves spreadsheets and he loves like statistics. So I have a channel in my Discord that's pretty much for him, and he basically posts. It's a rage channel, but so he posts some stuff about bad games and things like that. But he has like spreadsheets and graphs and stuff like that just kind of like show his escape rate, the killer perks, this kind of stuff. So he does like the research for me essentially, and he's like a more of a lower to mid tier player. So in his experience, he said that he's maybe not escaping as often, but he said he's having more fun playing as a survivor, and he's actually ventured to killer now because of the queue time changes and things like that. So I think, yeah, for medium tier players, it's been a really, really good experience. But I just keep seeing the big content creators. I mean, I just saw a tweet from, I think it was Aaron today on Twitter, saying he's just said DBD it's not fun. He said he doesn't want to play it anymore. It's just he's not enjoying it. I see Dowsey saying that he doesn't think that the skill-based matchmaking is good for the game, and he's not struggling because he's a great killer, but it's kind of you're not really enjoying it as much. So I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know the stats that they're taking down. I don't know if it's something that they even have in the pipeline where they're like, well, if it doesn't work to this degree, but we're the minority, so if it's working for the majority, then I think it's something that's going to be here to stay.
I think if you want to know what I honestly think is going to happen, I think it is here to stay. I think that they will look at their numbers and see that overall it is making fairer, more balanced games and fairer and more balanced conclusions to those matches. I think that a lot of the top tier, insane survivors will get really sick of the game and will leave. And then I think if I had to tell you my prediction, I think a lot of the top end, and maybe not the content creators, but a lot of the top end survivors will burn out and stop playing, and then they'll move on. And then by virtue of the fact that they're gone, the high MR killers will start having more fun because there won't be as many really good survivors to play against. So they won't exist, right? So like there'll be easier matches for the better killers because a lot of the survivors will leave. I don't know how many of the killers will leave. Maybe some of the killers will leave as well. I think a lot of the top end will drop off and take off and go to other games or maybe do other things, and then the cycle will continue. So
we'll say that top end will keep recycling.
The top end will grow. People will get to a level at which the game stops being fun for them, and then they'll move on. That's what I think is going to happen. That's coming from me, completely from RunningMan, not from any other inside source or anything. I'm just saying, like, what I think is going to happen is people will climb an MMR and they'll continue to get insane at the game, and then they'll get burned out, and then they'll move on, and then the people that stay will be like, wow, the games have been a lot better lately. And yeah, the games are easier because like 4 of the comp teams decided to quit the game and go play for Apex instead, right? Like they're just done with it. And I don't think that'll be an overall terrible thing for DBD as a game in terms of like, I don't think that the community will shrink. I think it'll continue to grow, and I think that the game will continue to prosper, because I think that the the top 1 to top 5% of the game continues to recycle on a cycle, the bottom 90 is still going to be around, still going to be down, you know what I mean, doing what they're doing, enjoying the game.
Foundation is always
the
going to
foundation will be there. So I think that like it's a sad reality, and it's the same thing that happened in if you remember, Fortnite did the same thing. Fortnite added the skill-based matchmaking, and a lot of the big content creators were very vocally against the fact that, okay, now I got to sweat every game. I don't want to. And then, and then people came fire back with, okay, well, now you're not gonna be able to have 40 kill games anymore. But you know, it sucks for you. But like overall, Fortnite continues to flourish. The average player wins more games of Fortnite now because the average player doesn't end up playing against some guy who's a 40 kill Andy who's gonna go in there and just dominate an entire lobby because they're insane at the game. And then you end up playing. But the thing that Fortnite has that DBD doesn't have is Fortnite has a very clearly defined ranked and unranked mode. So exactly, you have a place to go and get rewarded for that, because that's the crux of it. Why I think that 1 to 5% of the top is going to fall off is because that 1 to 5% doesn't feel like they have an incentive to play those games. Like I told you, if those 2 hours, that 2 hour block was all the time, I'd be like, how am I going to keep doing this? Why am I doing this? Like,
something, gotta find something.
And so I'm not, and this is not me being critical. This is just me being realistic that like the people that are in that top 5% are that they're more prone to burn out because they don't feel like they're getting anything out of their effort. They're playing every game like it's game 5 of the fucking DreamHack finals. And then when they're done, they get their 22K blood points and their pip, and they're like, okay. You know, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort for that. So I don't know. Like, I guess I'm really good at saying a lot of words to not give a strong answer, but I think that SSBM is inevitable in every game.
It's definitely here to stay.
It's inevitable in every game ever. Any game that's got a multiplayer component, it's inevitable. So it just sucks because like it sucks for the people who play the game full time professionally, because for guys like them and guys like us, the games are just naturally going to be harder because we play more and we win more and we get better. We're better than the average
Call of Duty
player.
did the same thing. Call of Duty went skill-based matchmaking as well. You know, properly like Fortnite, and it was the same thing. The content creators were up in arms about it, and basically people fired back saying the same thing, like, oh, so now you can't shit on people all the time, like, boo-hoo. And they were like, well, we're playing this game, you know, 10, 8 hours a day. If we like what you just said, like if you're gonna have to sweat for 8 hours straight, how are you gonna mentally even keep that up, let alone be able to create good content around that if you're not even getting frustrated, if you're just having to, you know, put so much effort in. And I can definitely see both sides. Another game I play is Rocket League. So Rocket League actually has MMR for both ranked and casual. A lot of people don't know that there's actually like a casual MMR to slot you into casual games as best as it can, and then it widens the range if you can't find a game straight away.
Right.
So if I play casual with my mate who I normally play with, we often go against people that we probably would verse in ranked anyway, but they might just be kind of chilling and casual and not too worried about the win or, you know, the end result. They're just going for cool shots and stuff like that. But because Dead by Daylight doesn't have that, it doesn't have that separation, and I don't think it can, because I don't think, not that there's not a big player base, I just think because of the way that we have, obviously, all the different regions, you can't play Dead by Daylight on, well, you can, but, you know, on 200 ping, 300 ping, it's not an enjoyable experience for the survivor or the killer if you were trying to, like, match everyone up together. With Rocket League, like, you know, you can play on 100, 150 ping, and you can still kind of get a good experience out of the game. But with the way Dead by Daylight functions, I don't think it's a reality to, because a lot of people's I guess solution is, well, split the player base and make a casual party game mode and make a ranked mode. And I don't know, I think in hindsight it would be great if they did that. If there was a player base that could fit each queue, and you could have enough people where these people want to play casual, these people want to play ranked, but you're still going to get people that are going into casual and playing like it's a ranked game. So it doesn't really solve, I guess, that much. What about queue times for you? Have you seen a difference in queue times in terms of your games on killers that you're... I know you play every killer, but obviously you play a lot of Leatherface. Like, did you see longer queue times with Leatherface or not really?
Only during the sweat hours. Only during that, like, that block that I tell you about. That's the only hours when the queues get long. Like, I don't know. It's a weird thing.
But the player... So in the sweat hours, the player level goes up because of the sweat. So you were saying like your games aren't necessarily hard; they're a little bit harder. But there's obviously between those hours, there's just more people that are online playing the game. So it's able to find, I guess, more see, the weird thing is that I find with the skill-based matchmaking is, so I've been playing a lot of Wraith. So Wraith is my main killer, and he's the one that I've put the most time into. So I play one game of Wraith where I go against a team who is really, really good in the pre-drop of pallets. I think there was 2 matches last stream that I played where I played on an Autohaven map and I broke every single pallet on the map twice, like back-to-back games. I think it was about 20 pallets or something like that. I just chomped through them all and I got like 1 kill because I just, I committed to a chase and just said, I'm just going to chase this person, let him have a bit of fun and see what happens. But then I played another game before that, before I lost the 2 games technically in the MMR, and I steamrolled a team at 5 gens and I didn't have to slug, I didn't have to do anything. Like, they just kind of, and I'm not saying I'm a high MMR killer or anything, but I've just been finding that when there's a lot of people online at like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, my games are so varied. But when there's only the 2 and, but the 1 or 2 a.m., it's always the sweat. So I just feel like at that 8 to 9 p.m., I feel like I should still be getting, not that I want to get them all the time, but I feel like if the MMR is kind of working fully, I feel like I should be getting those sweats then as well. So it just confuses me a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, my teams definitely almost always feel like either survival friends or like 3 stacks with a solo. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think that the queue times, so I think
you definitely have a bigger region than us.
Yeah, I have a huge
obvious,
region,
so.
And again, like, I think that I get fast queues. I start at 8 p.m. my time, and that's like prime time. Like, people are gaming at night before they go to bed. There's like, East Coast is still up. It's 11 on the East Coast. Like, they're still up and gaming till, because most, people be gaming until midnight, 1 a.m. usually.
Exactly.
So first few hours, you're going to get a lot of people gaming. And then, like, I think around 1 a.m., 12:30 and 1, my queues start to slow down because people are going to bed. And the only people that are left up are people that are like tournament prepping, or people that are all like no lifers, all nighters, guys like me. It's like who I deserve, I guess. Like, I'm up all night playing games, so why do I not deserve these guys, right? But like, and that's why the queues get long, and you're just not gonna get a break. It's just gonna always be like the guys who are really doing it. It's 1 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. They're doing it, like.
So why do you like? I mean, I guess it's not even a question, just like my thought is like, how obviously there's more players online, but it's not. I would be very surprised if those people that are playing at 1 to 2 a.m. that are giving you the harder games. I would be very surprised if those people weren't playing at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. as well. So do you think there's also just more killers on at that time also, so that you're maybe there, you're not getting in the games with those people at that time? Because I just find
I still get teams like that. Those teams are not exclusive to that block. As I said, during that block, that's all I get, right? And
it's
so
all you get.
I would assume, I mean, nobody knows how the MMR really works for sure. I mean, there have been leaks that I'm not going to talk about because leaks are ass, and like people take leaks and they just like create whole fucking viewpoints about them that like
they can create narratives
that are uninformed and like inaccurate and I mean, and this is, again, people are gonna fucking listen to me say this and be like fog whisperer, but like, no, I've been saying this shit for years. Like, ignore these leaks. Don't base it. I mean, if you have fun with leaks, have fun with them, but like, when people are making strong narratives and strong opinions based on leaked, inaccurate, incomplete information, you're just like setting yourself up for, like, it's just so bad. Don't do it. All right. Like, don't assume that the league knows everything. And so like, so me for like, I reject information that is not complete and not verified. And so none of us, so no matter what, I don't care how accurate leaks were, like nobody knows entirely how it works. And again, the way the SSBM worked the day it was leaked and the way it works today could be totally different. So we don't know anything.
Exactly.
So we're not knowers when it comes to MMR. Maybe we have an idea, and I've commented on the leaks and like what I think, but the long story short is that we don't actually know how MMR works. But what I suspect is that even though MMR is, or SSBM is more accurate now, you know, the idea before was like rank 1 means nothing because like a rank 1 with 300 hours and a rank 1 with 10,000 hours are very different. And that is very true. But again, I assume that there are a lot more people making it to MMR than maybe are elite at the game that are making it to really high MMR. Just by virtue of the fact that they farm. I mean, there is luck and RNG involved in DBD, especially like, you know, we don't know how the MMR is awarded, but you know, 4Ks can happen. And really, I got a 4K tonight on stream to like, I was getting bodied as Trickster on Leary's. Like I was getting absolutely fucking slapped. And I told Chad, I was like, bro, I'm gonna catch somebody and I'm just gonna camp one person to death. And I'm just gonna try to maybe get 2. And then I got a dude, got him to the basement. Everybody tried to die a hero, and I ended up with a 4K.
Yep.
And
yeah, the altruism kicked in, and
and my expectation is that the MMR system is not advanced enough to know that I didn't deserve that 4K. And so in MMR's eyes, I just beat, 4 really good survivors. I just won so my MMR went up based on a 4K of really good survivors, right? So I think that situation plays out a lot. There's a lot of people out there throwing on purpose to get their MMR down. There's a lot of people that are just fucking around drinking on a weekend that are going to be high MMR that are going to get beat. Long story short is I think that there just are always going to be outliers, like people that are at a really high MMR that maybe don't belong there. And I think that during the 8 p.m. hour, there's a lot more people like that are online than there are at 1 a.m. So I'm still going to run into that crack squad that catches me off guard at 8 p.m. once in a while. But that's like all that's around in the middle of the night. That's just those guys. Like,
of course,
the guys that are like that are pretenders probably aren't still playing at 1 a.m. So
yeah, exactly.
And so I think
I
just think that there's a bigger population, which means that there's in a game with a lot of RNG and a lot of variance, there's just a bigger chance of variance. So that's why my games are easier, still hard, still a lot of swifts, still a lot of work, but they're easier on average than my games that like during that real bad block in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and I guess I'll finish off by saying pretty much building on what you said. The MMR system or the skill-based matchmaking, it's evolving. It is a living thing that's changing every day, whether behavior is making tweaks behind the scenes or whether it itself is a functioning system that actually picks up on information and data and is actively trying to give you the best gaming experience possible, the fairest and most balanced. So it's always going to change. And I've noticed, as we've talked about, I've noticed it change over the weeks, and whether it might be changing and getting more skewed, but it's definitely collecting that data, which I think is good. At the end of the day, if it's going to collect that data and it's going to eventually, hopefully, as you said, there's always the outlier. There'll never be perfect games, but the closer we can get to a more balanced and fun experience for everyone, then that's the best thing. And the thing you said about the deserving thing, it just kind of like caught my attention, because the skill-based matchmaking and matchmaking itself, it's not there to figure out. It's not a human. It's a system, and it's not there to figure out if we deserve something. It's there to take the stats and then adjust those stats and give us a rating. So it's quite funny, because I think people do actually look at the MMR and think, okay, well, you don't deserve to be here because of the way you played. But unfortunately, that's not that person's fault. Like you said, it's not your fault that you got rating. It's just the game picked up on the stats and said, okay, you did these things that met the quota, and then that means that you gain MMR or you gain rating or however it's done. So it's just funny to think of like a rating being or the skill based matchmaking having like a deserving factor, because at the end of the day, it's literally just numbers going into a system. I just thought that was a funny thought to think about, of actually, what we, in terms of deserving and not deserving, because that the teams will play the way they play and they'll give you games, and then teams will take games away just as easily. DBD giveth and DBD taketh away is something that we say on stream pretty often. So, I mean, I feel like we could talk about skill-based matchmaking literally until we're blue in the face. But there's a bunch of other stuff that we want to talk about too, in terms of the mid-chapter updates. If you've still got time to talk to me and
I think we could rip through. We could probably rip through the patches. Maybe do like a TLDR version of most of the changes. I don't have a. I think that skill-based matchmaking is definitely like a big meaty topic, like you said. I think that we could probably just do a full podcast just talking about it and theorizing and stuff. But like, we can definitely be a little more concise talking about just these changes. I think that cut and dry this patch is I'm excited to talk about this part. Like SSBM, like
that's the thing. Yeah, me too. I feel like it can get a bit like it gets a little bit on the downer. People are kind of like, oh, they're still talking about skill-based matchmaking. Yeah. I feel like it's cool to talk about some cool, fun changes, or different changes that are coming to the game. Yeah. I mean, the reality is we're going to be talking about skill-based matchmaking for forever, if not at least the next coming months, because it's evolving and it's always going to be changing.
Can I cut in and just say one thing though? I wish they would have just done it and not told anyone. I wish they would have just done it and not said a word, because now everybody wants to armchair analyze it and make a big deal out of it and overthink it. And I think that like it's just what it is. Like I experience a lot of I experience a lot of the same things I experienced before. Sometimes I get absolutely shit stomped by a sweaty squad, and sometimes my games are fun. So, it just is what it is. But that'll be like, we can stop now, but that was the only thing that I wanted to get out that I hadn't gotten out yet, is that I wish that they would, if they really thought it was going to fix the game and they thought it was going to be a really good change, I'm all for that and I support it. But I really wish they would have just done it and not said anything. And then people would have just been like, wow, Matchmaker's been weird lately. And then it would have just never been a thing anymore. People would have just got used to it, I think. It's just,
well, can I now say something to you and tell you something before we end that?
Your fucking podcast, bro.
I hate that you told me that, because now I'm living in this alternate reality in my head that you've made me live in, and kind of I'm thinking about now, what if they did? What if they did? I'm so passionate about this game that my mind is like, I'm out of my body right now. I'm in a different world thinking about what if they didn't tell us.
Yeah, imagine. And
you've blown my mind.
You're gonna think about it all night. You're gonna be like, you're gonna go through all the stuff in your head where you're like, would people even have noticed? Like, would there have been anything that would have like, or would we have just been like, dang man, it's weird that like 2 a.m. so sweaty, and just like move on with our lives? Like, I don't know, it's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, you've kind of ruined me for the rest of the night.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
In a good way though.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
But yeah, I mean, is there anything that you're like super stoked for in the developer update? Because obviously there's so much information. I have done a couple of YouTube videos on it that some people from the podcast might have watched as well, but there's basically a bunch of killer changes, some add-on changes are coming for some killers, and then we're also getting the boon totems and then the key changes. So that's kind of like the easy update, and some perk changes obviously. But is there anything that we can start with? Do
you mind if I take point and I start to talk about each thing, and I'll give you my thoughts and you give me your thoughts? How does that sound? Like we just do this thing fucking rapid fire, okay?
Let's bang it out.
And again, I'm not trying to get out of here quick. I don't stream for like 14 hours, so we're good. 13 and a half hours, we're fine. But I want to be fun here. I think we might have gotten long-winded because we're both nerds and talking about SSBM. So we can rapid fire this and maybe make this kind of fun and entertaining. So Michaela Reed, big fucking win, dude. I think that she is the coolest original survivor that they've added to the game, maybe. Like her vibe to me, and again, this is all subjective to my personal tastes, but to me, that witch vibe, the red hair and glasses, the Harry Potter thing, like it all works for me. I'm gonna main her when she comes out.
She's a dub.
Yeah,
she is a dub.
Huge
I'm
win.
maining her when she comes out, and I am hoping she's coming out with some cosmetics as well for the Halloween event, I'm pretty sure, and hopefully some cool ones. And yeah, let's be honest, she's cute as hell.
Yeah, huge win. Huge win.
For a
Huge
video
win.
game character, done.
I mean, I rocked the witch in Fall Guys. Was like my main. I mained witch in Fall. I'm a witch guy. I'm a vibing on that witch thing. So I'm all about it.
I love it.
All about it. All right. Item and add-on descriptions being rewritten to get rid of considerably, moderately, slightly. Huge win. Huge W.
Big win.
Huge for the game.
More concise, easier for newer and experienced players to understand.
Yep. It'll
I
help
didn't even know the percentages.
It'll help the educational people out. It'll help everybody out. Like it's just overall, it's a much more healthy and intuitive way for them to describe add-ons. Huge W. Okay. Hatch only appearing with one survivor left alive. You might be surprised to hear this, but I'm not convinced that it's going to be good for the game.
Oh, really?
So I think
before you go on, the other thing, sorry, the status effects being on the perks is actually huge. I've had many people start this game and have no idea what the bone means in the corner or what the skull means of exposed. So I think it's amazing that they're going to be on the perks. There's going to be a reminder text for them.
I'm gonna be an asshole and be like, bro, I skipped that because I've got a billion hours in the game. Like it's just like I don't think I have a really bad time thinking like a new player. So you're right. Ultimately, you're right. It's good. It's a good change. I'm for it.
Yeah.
But I skipped that because I was like, no, who cares about that? Everybody knows what that shit does.
Yeah.
I don't know who cares.
The educational in me just came out. I was like, I have to.
Let's talk about something fun like the hatch, bro. No.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you're right. The status effect.
So you don't think hatch is going to be good?
I didn't say that. I said I'm not positive it's going to be good. So here's the thing. Conceptually, yes, the hatch should be the hatch. The vision of the hatch was for the last survivor to have a win condition. Should everything go wrong, right? Should they survive? And the problem is that now you're going to see a lot more games where you're at like 4 gens and you get the second kill. And 2 people are just gonna fucking hide to be mean. People are gonna hijack. People are gonna hijack games over this shit. I'm almost sure of it. People are gonna hijack games. And before, if it was like gotta get gens done toward the hatches, and then they find the hatch, and then I think that you're gonna have more games get hijacked because the hatch doesn't show up until one survivor is left alive. And 2 people,
and that's the complete opposite of what they want. They want end games to be more fun and people having to do gens. So I mean, I initially I thought it was going to be a good change, but I hadn't even considered really that people will kind of hatch standoff in their own way now between survivors. So it will remain to be seen.
That's a concern that I have. So ultimately, again, I think it's a good enough change, and I think that I like the idea of them changing the hatch instead of changing keys because, like, cool, now you get a key, you can get out when you have the hatch, and so the hatch mechanic truly becomes a 1v1 mechanic. However, again, it remains to be seen how survivors will deal with the power that comes with knowing that the hatch is not going to arrive, so now you have nothing worth doing, and it's like one of you is going to die. It's some Squid Game shit. You're like, what are we going to do now, right? Like,
I knew you would find a way to mention Squid
I have
Game
to.
I'm
obsessed. I'm obsessed. I almost did it earlier too. There was another time where I almost did it and I held back, but this time I had to. All right. So then obviously the where do they go achievement gets changed to the key to escaping, whatever. Yeah. Key to escaping, Pog.
Yep.
No one cares. We all have the achievement. And if we don't, then Pog, good for you. All right. So the trapper rework, we're not going to sit here and break down individually, right? Like everything, because there's too many changes. But the trapper rework,
too many.
Huge W. Just the base carrying is like having a bag. The add-on change where you can carry all traps at the beginning is super fun, super rewarding.
I think it's going to create real cool games with carrying all of them at once.
I think just in general, there's a baseline amount on the map. Every game now you're going to have 6 traps, which before it could have been as little as 4 and as many as 6. So like, I didn't know that until now, but now I know. So 100% of the time you're going to have access to 8 traps every single game. That is huge. That's just...
Yeah, I actually didn't know that either about the trap, the inconsistency with like the trap number. So super important to have consistent. The only last thing that they're kind of needing, I guess, is centralizing the traps potentially if this isn't strong enough. But we'll see how it goes. There is, I don't know if this is just the PTB bug, but there's a cool little new sound that Trapper makes when he picks up traps, which sounds like he's having a good time with that trap, which I think is hilarious.
Okay, I was gonna wonder. You said it's pretty cool. I was like, how cool? I mean, why do you think it's cool though? Because it sounds to me like he's popping, And so
I mean, it sounds like he's excited to get some kills.
Yeah, it sounds to me like they're gonna have to take it out of the game, just like they did the fucking pinhead thing, man. Like,
yeah, he picked up the trap and he came.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. That's I definitely noticed that on the PTB as well. It remains to be seen if that'll be a full situation for us when it's live. But yeah, otherwise I think that every add-on change was strong. I mean, they're good. Like, they're just little quality of life things, and I'm all for it. I'm all for them, like, just kind of giving them a little nudge. I mean, again, I'll bang this drum a lot. Every killer doesn't need to be the Blight, the Nurse, the Spirit. Like, every killer doesn't need to be like comp viable. But every killer should feel fun to play and should be rewarding and should have good upside. And Trapper, with these changes, feels way better, is way more fun, and has way more upside. So good changes.
And I can tell you now that I'm already seeing more people play Trapper in the live servers.
Yep.
Because I think they're getting ready to play him when the update comes out.
Yep, I agree. I see the same thing. So, Wraith. Uncloaking speed boost duration reduced to 1.25.
They're hurting my boy.
Did it feel, when you played it on the PTB, did it feel bad to you? Because it felt fine to me.
It didn't feel any different. And I had a survivor complain the other day on stream. They said, can't wait for his nerf. And I was just said to him, you are going to be sad because it's not going to do anything. I
feel like just this is literally basic fucking thugonomics, right? Like, if you look at it, how often do you miss a swing by 0.25 seconds on Wraith, right? Maybe I'm
overswinging usually. I'm over you. Like I'm past you.
But you're better than me at Wraith, because every once in a while I get one that's like, oh my god, that was an eyelash, and so every once in a while I get a just a tipper, right? So
yeah, of course.
So if like 1 out of 20 games I'm gonna have that happen to me, so be it. It's fine. I'm glad they're not completely gutting him. So cool. All seeing being dropped from 12 to 8. All seeing was busted. And 8 is fine, in my opinion. I think
it's still going to be good.
I can still use I can still use all seeing to mind game at a jungle gym. I can still use all seeing to find guys that are crouched around the hook. I'm fine with it. It's fine.
Yep. I can still use Silent Bell to scare the shit out of people with it. Yep. So I'm happy.
Yes, sir. All right, cool. So we're on the same page there. So with Billy, the Death and Doom engravings now decrease heat generated while charging. Huge. So good.
I honestly almost probably like the best change, if not one of the best changes in the whole entire update.
We'll get to the best change later, but it's a really good one. It's a really good one, yeah, for sure.
So how many flick billies? How many flick billies do you have that you? Well, you don't play a lot of Survivor, but do you know of a lot of flick billies in your region? Because my region is filled with them.
No.
That's the only billies I go against are flick billies that use double engravings, so they are all rejoicing.
My region's full of M1 billies and millies, and it's fine. I'm part of the problem a lot of the time, but we don't really have a lot of flick billies doing their thing. So I think we'll have more now. I mean, people really got turned. They got really turned off from Billy from overheat. A lot of people quit him because of overheat. So I think a lot of them will come back now that they've got reasonable ways to reduce overheat while still using add-ons that are fun. So I think it's great.
Yep. One step towards #Free Billy.
Yeah, we made a little bit of ground on Free Billy, but I think this is good. Maybe I like to think that I was, in large part the hashtag.
I actually watched your video today on YouTube, the #Free Billy one.
I wish you wouldn't. It
was brilliant.
I'd love to get that one back. I think I could do a better job with it now than I did then, but it was a good fun time. But yeah, so I think the Mother's Helper change is neat. I mean, the other add-on changes are like neat, pretty. I don't think anybody will use them. I
don't play Billy, so this is
everybody's just gonna use the. Everybody's just going to use the engravings now, so I don't think the other ones are all that big of a change. But this is a big one, though. Nurse has they're actually bringing back 3 blank Nurse.
I love this. I'm excited by this.
If you're the guy that was in my chat the other night and you've said like 7 things ever, and you were really matter-of-factly talking about how it was going to be garbage because you didn't think it was going to be strong. This guy was telling me he didn't think it was going to be strong because of the recharge time. I was like, you've never faced a good Nurse before. if you think
No.
3 blinks is going to be fine. Like, what is your MMR 9 if you think that this is going to be fine, dude? Like, no. So if you stack Torn Bookmark and the 30% reduction in recharge time, it's only 4 seconds per charge recharge. And if somebody can't get you in 3 blinks, then they're not good at nurse anyways. So
Yep. My argument as well is that most of the time, a nurse is going to be able to get you in 2 blinks anyway.
Yep.
So having the third one is basically just insurance.
exactly.
And it's going to make for some really cool... I did a really cool play in the PTB. I blinked into the basement, out of the basement, and then spun around the shack and down someone. And I was pretty impressed with myself. So I think it's going to make for some like cool nurse tricks.
Yep.
Like the good nurses will be doing like some cool plays with them. So I look forward to that. Getting dumpstered by that on stream.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing because I'm all for iridescent add-ons being. I mean, sometimes it takes you 500,000 blood points to get one iridescent, so I'm okay with iridescence being really strong and impactful. I just am. But anyone out there that thinks that it's going to be bad is crazy. Like 3 blinks on a nurse is insane, and it's going to be insane. And I can't wait to play it and get called horrible things in post game chat. The shape changes.
Your favorite, Myers.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I'll let you take... I'm stealing your thunder here, but I just...
No, I'm loving this. I'm loving... You're the killer main, so
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
So
Keep
Memorial
going.
Flower should be common. So that's a really good change. Memorial Flower is a very neat add-on and one that is a good bargain.
What's it
add-on.
do?
It just speeds up the stalking slightly speeds up stalking.
Okay.
Used to be yellow, now it's
Okay,
mouse
cool.
brown. I mean, whatever. Vanity Mirror, they removed the speed penalties. People will actually use it.
Yeah, I like it.
And I'm all for it. And then Judas Tombstone, speed penalty only applies to Evil Within 3. Very cool. Very cool. It doesn't fuck you for the
can't
whole
wait to
game,
get
just for the end.
Tombstone
Yeah.
more.
You get normal speed while you collect your play with your food stacks, and then when you hit tier 3, you're motorboating and you're all good.
And you just murder some people.
And now no one can ever ask me to play BK Myers again, so I'm all for that.
It's true. He's gone forever.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Now here we have what you're probably going to be surprised to hear is by far and away my favorite change in the entire PTB. The
I
Hag's,
actually agree.
the Hag's
kinda love it.
waterlogged shoe now increases the speed bonus to 4.5, which means that when you equip the waterlogged shoe, you are now but 0.5% slower than the Hillbilly Trapper and Wraith. The Hag fucking just moves. She moves with this add-on equipped. And I always was a big fan of Body Block Hag.
Yep.
So yeah, now she moves at the 115, the 4.6. Like, it's so awesome. I had so much fun.
And I don't know if
playing
you've
this
ever been
add-on.
scanned a chase hag before.
Yeah.
But a chase hag with play with your food and this add-on, and being able to teleport to traps and stuff, or to
You can't teleport to traps with it, right? You can't teleport to traps with the waterlogged shoe, can you? I'm pretty sure you can't.
well, you know better than me, so it's I don't think you can teleport to traps, but I tried it out and I just loved being able to move normal speed.
Yeah, so
100%.
I use it with the severed hand add-on for maximum body block, and so hold on, you move fast but you can't teleport to your traps. Hold on a second, I brought the game up because
No, I looked it up. Yeah. You can't you can't teleport to the traps, but it hinders the survivor as well.
It slows them, right? And then you use the severed hand, which causes collision on the trap, and you can body block them at pallets and just like stack it up. It's so much fun, bro. Like I was running Enduring, Spirit Fury, play with your food, save the best for last, and just like having a goddamn ball with it, dude. It's just, I can't wait till it goes live. I've been saving up add-ons and everything, so. I'm gonna let you take point on the pig stuff because I don't know.
The pig one's sad to me because I think it's great. The pig has had a whole add-on pass. They've changed up pretty much, majority of the add-ons to be focused on like ambush and stuff like that. I think pig's changes should be base kit. Unpopular opinion, maybe not all of them, but I think that there should be some stuff with ambush and crouch speed and things like that should just be base kit for her because she's just add-on reliant.
Yeah.
Now she was add-on reliant. They've changed her add-ons to be better. So she's just become more add-on reliant now by having better add-ons, I think.
Agreed.
So tamper timer, changing to 20 seconds from 30 seconds, changing, that's kind of good. But there's different stuff like, with the jigsaw boxes and trap setting speed, things like that. The one thing I think is really cool, crouch movement speed. So moving faster when you're crouched. And then there's one that increases your ambush attack charge speed.
Yeah.
So if you can crouch and kind of attack faster, you're going to be able to pull off some better plays. I actually watched someone play it on the PTB. I didn't really mess around with it myself, but you can get into that. You can move and get into that ambush really quickly. Almost like a, how a blight will do like a, what do they call it, when they slide around the wall, and they use the wall and they slide around the shack or something, and then flick and hit you.
Yeah.
You can pretty much do like a similar type thing speed wise with the pigs. So I don't know. I just think she's really, she's just add-on reliant, and if you want to do good with her, you're still just gonna have to use add-ons. And I think killers should be viable with it. She's still viable, but I still think killers without add-ons, killers should be viable without add-ons. That's my unpopular opinion.
It would help balance the game more if add-ons were just like augmenting, because that's the thing. Like a pig with no add-ons and a pig with strong add-ons are like two very different games for survivors.
100%, and it'll
And I would say that, like, as they continue to make changes to the game where more and more survivor items aren't as like impactful, I think the add-ons continue to be very dependent. You can become very dependent on add-ons to like have a good game, basically, against strong teams. So I don't know. I personally kind of agree with you. I'd like to see like overall. I mean, I again, this is just like an entire podcast subject. It's like what would I do to balance the game? Well, I would start by buffing the absolute hell out of solo survivor and taking a lot of the power level in the game out of add-ons and items and perks. Like, and I would weaken a lot, but I would weaken a lot of perks and items and add-ons, but then I would increase a lot of information for survivors and just baseline the game around survivors having all the info that a Survivor Friends team would have, and then buff killers to catch up to that. Is how I would fix.
Yeah,
how I would
much more
balance the game.
skill reliant.
I would balance
not
the game,
add-on
but
dependent, that kind of thing. But
right.
I mean, look, we can live in that world in our heads, but it sadly won't ever happen.
Yeah, no, I agree, but that's right. That's one of the reasons why I was going to say we could have a whole top podcast on it, but it probably wouldn't be worth it. It wouldn't be worth the breath because it's just going to be tough theory crafting about something that'll never happen. So on to the spirit. I think that the spirit changes are phenomenal. And I think that I was very worried when I heard the concept of the spirit changes that she was going to be donkey tier and be terrible. And then now, we would only really have two killers that were at that upper level. But I played her extensively on the PTB, and dare say that I think I performed even better on new spirit than old spirit.
Yep, I think people are trying too hard now to listen to where she's coming from, and they don't pay attention to, well, it's PTB, but I found that people weren't paying attention to where they were going. They were trying to figure out where I was as the spirit, and they weren't playing as well as they could because of that. And you can definitely still catch people off guard. Yep. The best thing about it from a survivor perspective, just knowing it eliminates the standstill mind game, which was bullshit anyway. I'll just say it.
Yep.
Like just standing there and doing nothing and then getting rewarded. Yes, it's quite funny to do it when you're a killer and you're like, haha, I didn't actually move. But it felt cheap, and it won't feel cheap anymore. You can still pretend to phase. You can still phase and then not go anywhere, and then still survivors will always panic. It's a spirit. She can still move fast. This is what people were saying. Like, she's going to be broke. She's going to be dead. She's not going to be able to be used. She can still move. She's still quick in phase. She can still catch up to you.
Yep.
She can still use it all.
Your headphones still, your headphones still work? Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you tried this add-on, the Wakazashi Saya.
Mm-hmm.
during the haunting, you can return back to the husk and end the haunting.
Yep.
I loved it.
Yep.
I think there's going to be super cool plays made with that, and I think it brings another mind game in.
Agreed.
I wouldn't say that it should be like, on her base kit, but I think it is it's a really fun add-on, and I love add-ons like we were saying before that create a different playstyle. Trapper's one where he starts with all the traps, and he goes and sets out a fun little nest of traps straight away, creates a different playstyle for him. This one, with Spirit creates a different playstyle, teleporting back to the husk. I actually experimented with the one where if you get stunned by a pallet, you instantly get your haunting back. So I was just running into pallets and then having people stun me and then just instantly teleporting like straight on top of them. I think it's cool, and she has new Terror Radius music. So what do you think? What do you think of that? Quickly,
I actually never heard it. I didn't play Survivor a single time on the PTB.
Okay, well, I think it's terrible. I don't really like. I don't really like it. Hopefully they change some things with it, but it just kind of, I don't know. It just felt like there was a lot going on. It was just kind of yelling at me.
Hang on one second. I'm gonna play it real quick. I found it real quick.
Okay.
All right, so it's got like some.
I just didn't. It didn't hit me. It didn't hit with me. Like other cool ones like Deathslingers, that kind of one.
I like this
Nemesis.
a lot, bro. It's like got like got
really?
like some flutes or whatever in there. Like, I don't know.
See, Pinhead and Nemesis, they came out with such cool Terror Radius themes that it didn't hit with me. But hey, it's all my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'll turn the music off now. The viewers at home are probably like, "Shut up, dude!" But like, I just want to listen. I think it sounds kind of cool, bro. But like,
okay. Well,
but I said it like hours ago at the beginning of this podcast. I like everything, so I can't help it. It's my sickness. Okay, cool. So we are in agreement. The Spirit's going to be just fine, and she'll still be very viable. Okay, so the Plague is going to be fucking ridiculous now, right? Like we're agreeing that she's going to be like maybe top 5. Like she's nuts now with these changes. If they go through.
She's nuts. Yep. She was already strong if you snowballed, but she's going to be strong now without even needing to kind of get that snowball effect going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we really need to go down the list too much, but like baseline, they're going to double the infection time. They're going to double the infection rate on items, so people are going to be broken quicker and faster. She's going to basically have a back rev option now where you just like one shot them, like you charge it behind, one shot them down because of the cooldown, the reduced cooldown after ending the puke.
Yep.
She can like machine gun the cursed stuff. Like she's gonna be nasty if they keep her this way, which is I think is great. I'm all for
She's
it.
an awesome killer.
She's a cool killer. Yeah.
Like we don't see enough of her, so like let her be broken for a bit or too strong, and then they can deal with her then. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, we're on board. Deathslinger is gonna be the worst killer in the game now, right? If he stays the way he is now.
No, I disagree.
No.
This is where I had to disagree. I played Deathslinger on the PTB, and I felt like I couldn't really feel a difference.
So
I could feel the difference. That's a lie. I could feel the difference, but it didn't make enough difference to me. But it's only on the PTB.
What time? Yeah, I was gonna say, what time did the sweaty teams come out for you? Because
I see we don't get enough players on the PTB, so mine was just simple. Like theory, crafting stuff in custom games. So.
Yeah, I was going to talk about when you're on live. When do your sweaty games start? Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to your stream. I'm going to have you play Deathslinger when they release this to live, and I want you to play against some dudes with thousands of hours and tell me that he's the same. Because and again, I know you.
I don't think he's the same. You just said is he the worst killer?
He might be the worst killer. He might be the worst killer in the game. And I'm gonna stand by this, and we're gonna revisit this subject, you and I, here in a month or two. I'm not saying he is. Okay. Again, you know me. I don't make bold statements, but he might be the worst killer in the game. His one skill, his one power that was like nuts before is that he could quick scope and just insta hit you, and no matter what, you're getting hit if he's good. Now you're basically forced to aim in, which means it's going to come down to a bunch of like guessing games on which way they're going to go. Like, I mean, he's slow. He's 110 and his power just puts you into mend, and you have to aim it now. So you can't even insta. Like there's this, I don't know, man. He can't mind game his power anymore. He's worse than Pyramid Head. And like Pyramid Head can knock you down with his power at least. This guy can't even.
I think the worst thing for him is his Terror Radius going from 24 to 32.
Yeah.
Because he is a 110. So your survivors are going to hear you coming that 8 meters, 8 meters further.
I think somebody said once, and this isn't verified, but I think someone told me in chat once that 8 meters is 16 seconds in a straight line. If they start running 8 meters, because I remember I used to run Monitor and Abuse on Leatherface, and somebody was like, "Oh, that's smart. You can save 16 seconds to chase." I'm like, "What?" And they were like, "Yeah, they tested it." And like,
16 seconds is huge.
If you start running in a straight line, the second you hear the terror radius 8 meters closer or 8 meters further back, they get an extra 16 seconds in a straight line. That assumes they can run.
Mental.
They can run in a straight line, but yeah. So again, like he's got this big terror radius, but also his power sucks, and also he can't mind game with it anymore.
So the thing I think is good Deathslingers will continue to be good. I think they'll just learn to pre-aim because they know that, like in a chase, they'll learn to pre-aim and they'll miss shots, but I think that they'll either learn to pre-aim and still I mean, I don't know, when I tried it, I felt like I could almost still, it wasn't a quick scope, but it was, no. I still felt like I could shoot quite fast.
Now it's a 50-50 now. They either juke it or they don't.
Or they don't? Okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Like I got some good friends that are really strong Deathslinger players, and they're all learning Trickster now. So.
Oh really? Okay. I thought his movement speed would be like when aiming down sights. That, I know it's only 10%, but one of his strong suits is also zoning, and the fact that he can zone you faster aiming down the sight. I mean, that was when that was where I succeeded. Was when I would just hold. When I would hold the gun, I would hold in, and then I would just like kind of walk with them, and then I could land some good shots there, but like. I was playing. I mean, it's not as fun as the quickscope. I was playing against robots in the PTB. Like, I have a bad feeling that when this guy hits live, he's going to be F tier. Like, I don't know. We'll see. I know that like people that are way smarter than me about this game, unironically think he should be 115 speed now. He should go up to the 4.6 ms instead of 4.4, and that he wouldn't be broken at that. So. You know, if he's able to have 5% extra movement speed and not be busted, he sucks. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's true.
Any of the killers that are 110 right now, you move them to 115, they're like undeniably broken. And
so what you're telling me is when this update drops, I'm becoming a Deathslinger main for a couple of weeks, and then we'll revisit.
I would love that. Yeah, I'd love that. And again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I might be wrong, but I think he's going to be. I think with the Trapper getting the quality of life increase, Deathslinger will actually be the worst killer in the game after this drops.
So Trapper was your worst.
Trapper and Myers are like pretty close to dead even for the worst in the game.
Wow. Okay.
Because both of them are like
well down there.
I can't believe that you would think that the Pig, when Pig has built-in slowdown and has like a power that can actually be used to either get hits or get survivors away from loops, and Trapper and Myers are both like basically useless for the first 3 gens of the game.
Up against lower tier, I feel like against a lower tier team, the Pig will destroy, but against a higher tier team, she doesn't. But I feel like a Myers can still clutch up with those insta downs. You're still always going to get seen at some point. I feel like if you're even if you're a good player, you're still going to get stalked. But yeah, I mean, they're all pretty bad.
Yeah, I used to get irritated by these conversations in stream, and I would just be like, dude, like, I don't understand why people feel the need to like argue which is worse, cat poop or dog poop, right? Like, they're both so bad. Like, it's like, well, technically, I think that the Trapper would be a little bit worse. Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. They're all low tier killers. So.
But you surprised me saying that about Deathslinger, so I will be very interested to watch you play him, as I'm sure you will.
Absolutely,
and see how I go.
Yeah, and maybe I'm wrong again. Like I'm being reactive to. I did. You know what's notable, and I'll break off just for 1 second to say that this was the first time in the history of Dead by Daylight that I streamed the PTB 2 streams in a row. I had so much fun in this PTB. I came back and streamed it again the next night. I was like, I can't.
You were going hard.
I was like, I'm not done with this PTB. It's too fucking good. Like, you know, so
there's too much though. There was so much, you know.
Yeah, there's so much to do, but then like I just had so much fun with it. I just wanted to play it again. So, all right, Ghostface. This will be a real quick one. He's worse now. He's just worse now. You still need in my opinion, you still need the Night Shroud recovery modifiers. You still need the Night Shroud. You still need the Night Shroud add-ons to be good, but now they don't work as good. Like I understand their concept was to make it so he was baseline, had a faster recovery of his power, so you could play with other add-ons. Everyone's still just going to run the double recovery add-ons. I guarantee it. Like there's no.
All I'm going to say is he's still impossible to break out of his power, so he's still going to do okay.
Is he, or is he instantly broken out of his power on a corner by a stretch reser? Because like there's two options. You either can't.
There's two ways.
You either can't be broken, or you're broken from the downstairs of the shack by a guy with stretch res. Like. So
yeah, or you're licking his boots and
exactly.
he's stalking you.
It's so inconsistent, and so I don't disagree. He'll be fine. I'm not saying he'll be bad. He's still exactly what he always has been. But like this change to me,
add-on dependence
perplexes me because it's like I understand your idea was to make the recovery time faster so that we use other add-ons, but we're still never going to use other add-ons because it's just more powerful to be a cloakless wraith, to be a no tear radius without having to cloak. And just be able to get an instant hit. So, blight changes somehow didn't affect the alchemist ring, so that's a thing.
Yeah, and apparently I spoke to some blight mains, and these changes are pretty. They said they were pretty non-impactful.
Yeah, no one uses these add-ons. No one used those add-ons before, and no one will use those add-ons now. So,
yeah, you might get some memes with like summoning stone with the whole Hex blood favor stuff, changing as well at the moment, but who knows whether that's actually going to stay as it is. Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so. So, all right, Oni, they nerfed Top Knot, which absolutely they needed to. Like,
thank you for doing that.
Like, I'm like a killer only player who like loves Oni, who's like, I shouldn't be able to do these things that I do with this add-on.
Yeah,
so, I don't think it's a bad. I think that the add-on will still be good. It'll still be a strong add-on. And
it'll just give you a bit more of a chance.
It's just it'll just be like more balanced and exactly what it should be. So good shit. Survivor changes for all the general perks that came from the Stranger Things. Okay.
Yeah, Stranger Things leaving. Survivor
sad.
Changing names.
Sad.
And then perk balancing. So this is awesome. Vigil is 30% now at the 3rd tier, but it recovers Exposed, Oblivious, and Broken. I actually tried this out with Haunted Grounds.
Yes.
When Haunted Grounds get to about just over 3/4, you are no longer exposed if you are running Vigil.
That's so dope. I think it's great. Before we break down the individual perks, I just want to say, like, again, killer sided, killer only player. Like, I love the idea of them making perks other than the top 6 perks, like, usable and viable. I'm loving this.
Yep.
I'm loving this. I want them to keep doing this. Keep on giving people reasons to run Vigil and Babysitter
exactly
for the people.
Yep.
Like, okay, so now that so go on. You take. You're the survivor main. Take me through these perks.
Yeah, I think someone told me that Vigil stacks as well, but I'm not sure if that's true. But if you have Vigil, my one thing was like Oblivious is meh. You can still play with Oblivious. Broken is cool because it can create For the People plays even better now that they're actually changing For the People to a minute cooldown when you're broken. So you take 30% off that. So the Exposed one was cool because I can imagine a killer running up to me with Haunted and trying to hit me, and I've got Vigil, and they've still got Haunted up, and they're going, what the hell? Why is this person not gone down?
Hacker. They'll be like, hacker, they're reporting you to behavior, bro.
I'm laughing all the way to the bank with that one. Right. So Guardian, Babysitter, doesn't really matter. They're adding a haste effect to this person that you rescue. The killer can't see your aura, and then the killer's aura is available for 8 seconds instead of 4 seconds. This was Babysitter. People might run it, but probably not. For the People is going to be really cool. As I said, down to 60 seconds, so it'll give you chances, especially Command Vigil, to make those plays. The one that I'm most excited for, Windows of Opportunity, second most. This is no cooldown anymore. Mm-hmm. So if you are using this, the radius is also increased to 32 meters. I stood in the middle of Dead Dog Saloon with Windows of Opportunity and open-handed, and I could see every single pallet and every single bolt on the entire map.
That's crazy.
So if I get in a chase on that map, unless the killer severely outplays me, I will can almost guarantee that I will not go down for a whole entire game until my team dies.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's going to be pretty crazy. I don't know if it will continue to stay the same, but even without open-handed, it's still awesome. Hopefully encourage people to take more chases instead of hiding. Repressed Alliance, you have to work on a gen for less time, 45 seconds.
I'm for it. Repressed Alliance always felt way too long.
It wasn't worth it. So
Yeah.
now if you work on a gen for basically half the time as a solo, then you can block it. So that's really cool. Hopefully we see more. I'm already seeing some of it in pubs randomly, so maybe we'll see a bit more. This is the big one, built to last, reworked. So if you hide in a locker for 12 seconds with an empty item, you now get 99% of its charges refilled on the first time. If you use up that, you go back in the locker, 66% gets recharged. You use that up, 33% gets recharged. And then previously you would get 50% of your, I think it was 50% of your item back.
Yep.
When it
was
depleted.
We just did it one time and gave you 50%. Yeah, we used it in comp quite a bit. I don't know if it goes live like this. I don't know if I think they'll probably tune it down. That you're gonna get like 50 fucking heals out of a med kit or something.
It works with add-ons as well.
Yeah.
Your add-ons still work. So, toolboxes, healing, even flashlights with odd bulbs and things like that. You're going to be having survivors just have infinite items with, with appraisal and and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't think it goes to live.
Maybe it just ends up going to live like this, and we just see like an all Franklin's meta. I don't know. You never know.
Well, they did hint at changing items, so that's speculation. But they did hint at actually reworking items themselves. And I don't know. I picked up on this. I don't know if I was reading into it too much. I was watching the Champions of the Fog, the Fog Whisper event that recently was on, with all the Fog Whisperers playing, and Tofu was hosting, commentating, and he made a comment about items. He made a sly comment about items changing maybe in the future. So I know you guys, depending on who you are, you're not in behavior officers making changes, but we know with Otstava's videos that they do actually listen to people's opinions and what they have to say, because a lot of the things that Ot said were actually changes that got made to Trapper and a couple other killers. So,
I think that they listen. I think they listen a lot more than people think that they do, and the vast majority of people that say that they don't listen are listening to bad ideas. They're just bad takes. You can sit there and tell me 5 Blink Nurse should come back, and then when they don't do that, tell me they don't listen to what people want. But that's one person with a really bad take. So I think that overall they listen quite a bit, and I think that I think that if there's a general concern with the general population of the game, they're aware of it and they're making. And again, not all changes. We have to remember that in a vacuum, this game is being created. This game is not being created in a vacuum for players that have 9,000 hours and 5,000 hours and 7,000 hours. Being created for people that are day one players all the way up to 10,000 hours. So
exactly,
what we want, your circle of people that all play 50, 60 hours a week is not necessarily what the general game is going to be healthier having. So
exactly. The last two, Any Means Necessary, you can see the aura of drop pellets.
Yep.
I don't think this really helps. They're still going to get broken pretty much instantly by killers. Maybe you'll find the odd pellet here and there, but probably not going to help that much. And then No Mither release reduces your grunts of pain, and recovery speed is increased. I don't know if this stacks with Unbreakable, but you could see some cool builds with No Mither.
Yeah, basically getting up instantly. It's pretty fast. It's pretty cool. Still won't get used.
Yeah.
Still going to piss off solo players who are like, fuck, my teammates using No Mither. Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a guy. Can I cut in real quick and just randomly? The world needs to know about this. I played against a No Mither guy the other day, and I played Nurse on the game, and I 4K'd. Yep. And this is during Sweat 30, by the way. This was during the sweatiest time of night. And we got we gutted out a 4K. And
we got it.
The next match, I got him again, the same No Mither guy, and I was running Nurse with the same cosmetic. He saw it was me. Guys, he suicided on Hook, and then he came to chat and says, and I quote, "Don't want to play against boring ass killers that just patrol gens all game."
Oh my gosh.
Man,
While running no mither.
playing with no mither, playing at purportedly the highest level of the game you can play at, said that he didn't want to play against killers who just patrol gens all game. So now patrolling gens is apparently not cool to do.
Yep. Now you're not tunneling the survivors, you're tunneling the gens, and
Yeah,
that's just not on.
Sorry, I just thought that the world needed to know that somewhere out there is a person who's dead ass legitimately came to my place of work and told me that I should not patrol gens anymore. I should not patrol gens anymore.
Yep.
At the highest MMR possible. Anyways, go on.
And running a perk that doesn't do them any favors.
Exactly. Well, because I mean, that's true. Yeah. If I guess I'm not patrolling gens, I'm probably going to be downing you quite a bit if you're only one hit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these are killer perks. Do these have any kind of like impact on your games? Do you think?
Yeah. Let me talk through them. So obviously they changed the names of the demo perks, which is sad because I really liked. I don't know. Jolt does not sound cool.
No, it doesn't.
Like Jolt.
It's that Disney dog, isn't it? Jolt.
I think that's Bolt. I think it's
like
Bolt.
that lightning dog.
I think Jolt.
Oh, Bolt.
Jolt
yeah,
is an energy soda that came out when I was like a kid.
Oh, okay.
So. Retribution, oblivious condition change to trigger from interacting with any type of totem. Increased order reveal time to 15 seconds. I think overall, Retribution is a neat perk, one that I play with and have fun with, and I think that they made it better. Now there'll be oblivious if they cleanse a dull as well as a hex, and the reveal time's a little longer, 5 extra seconds. Pretty pog. I like it. Hex Blood Favor now triggers off of special attacks and basic attacks. They're gonna need to take a look at that with regards to the killer, the trickster, because that was way too strong.
One knife would trigger it for those that don't know.
Yeah, true. One knife was triggering. I forgot that not everybody knows everything. So yeah. So the second you hit him with a knife, it triggers. So I don't know if they're going to be able to code it to where it won't happen unless there's a health state change for special attacks, which I think should be the case. What I thought would be really fun would be running like Blood Favor on Leatherface with speed limiter, and then the add-on that refreshes your charges if you hit somebody with the saw, and you can do a speed limiter hit, block the pallet, and then speed limiter hit them again. Like, so you get two in one run. That'd be a really fun meme. So
that would be great.
I'm spoiling some shit that I'm going to try here in a couple weeks. So I just want you to know that it's on the stream. It's on the podcast now. So, but yeah,
well, I'm holding you to it then.
I think Blood Favor is going to be like really fun and a lot better. So it's cool. Third Seal is now off of that is a huge change for Third Seal. I think it's gonna be great. Special attacks and basic attacks. So now a chainsaw will make them blind.
You get more use out.
A hatchet. It's just gonna be more viable.
Oh wow, I didn't even think a hatchet. Wow.
Yeah. A hatchet will now make you have the blindness effect. How cool is that?
That's annoying.
Yeah, it's very annoying. I like it. Thrill the Hunt. Survivor penalty now applies to both cleansing and blessing actions. So when they use the boon tunnels, which we'll talk about soon, it'll also apply to that. So it takes longer for them to create the boon totem rather than cleanse. The penalty stacks got a little higher, and the maximum penalty increase. I mean, it's good.
What do you think about the noise notification being removed as well?
I don't know. I never really got anything out of it anyways. Like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's good, but it's a good. I think that like they're now basically saying like Retribution is going to be our hex totem as a tracking perk. So we'll take it away from Thrill the Hunt and instead make Thrill the Hunt just a baseline slowdown. Like they're just doing that. They've been doing this for a long time. They're trying to like clean things up. And so back in the day when Thrill the Hunt was like one of the very few hex totems in the game, it made sense for it to be a slowdown and a tracking perk. And now they're saying, well, Retribution is our new totem tracking perk, and Thrill the Hunt is now just a totem slowdown perk. So I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Fearmonger now plus exhausted and blindness instead of just exhausted, which is okay. I think that Mindbreaker is literally just a sprint burst counter at this point. If you really hate when they sprint burst away from gens, you run it. So I don't see the blind. I don't see the blindness making anything. I don't see it being anything.
The only thing that'll be good for is it means you physically, if you don't pay attention to where someone's hooked, you have to get off the gen for that 3 seconds or whatever it is.
Yeah.
To remove that blindness to be able to see where
And
they
I just
are.
can't imagine.
I mean,
I just can't imagine that being impactful because most
No.
most people are coming off gens for hooks anyways because they're hiding from barbecues. So
yeah.
I don't know, but hey, maybe somewhere out there, some guy named Todd is like, hell yeah, I can just finally. Finally, Mindbreaker is a day one use, dude. Yes, Pog. But
Yep, he's like, I'm maining it now.
I'm maining
more
it,
than I
dude.
used to.
Yeah. Not only do I not have to worry about sprint burst. No. So this is the big conversation piece. The big meat of this PTB though is boon totems. I want to hear your take as a survivor main, and then I'll give you my hot take as a killer man.
Okay, so boon totems, I think. Again, for anyone that doesn't know, boon totems are basically survivor hex totems. You bless a dull totem, gives you a powerful effect that applies to you and your whole team. These currently can stack on multiple areas if the totems reach if they cover 28 meters. So there's potential for like crazy stacking, and it's already happening. That part of it, I don't know if that will make it into the live servers, the stacking. I don't know if that was their intention or not because of the totems being so close. But in my eyes, I think that boon totems are going to be okay in the current way that they are. The only thing I think maybe there should be a limit to the amount of times you can bless, or a killer potentially should be able to snuff them out and delete the totem completely if they become out of hand. I think that people are not seeing the big picture of, yes, it's going to be quick to heal. Yes, it's going to be, lose the scratch marks in the aura when you go through positions. I'm kind of like defending them, obviously, as a survivor player, but not in the ways that people think. I think that it's going to draw people away and all together. And where do you want people when you're playing killer? You want them all together. If they're not on a gen, you want them all together because it's, you're going to have the pick of the litter who to chase. You're going to have a whole bunch of people that aren't doing gens, that aren't split up. They're all together. Whether it's a detriment or not, I don't know. We need more playtime with it, but I love the fact that they're trying something. That's my main take. I love it. I think it's cool that they're trying something different. Let it be broken. Let them fix it. Use that kill switch that they're bringing in if they have to, but at least they're going all out and giving it a shot. That's my hot take.
We're pretty close. I think I agree 1,000,000% with the idea that I am super stoked, whether it's broken or not, that they're doing something new. They're taking a risk with the game. They're bringing in an entirely new mechanic that's going to change the way people play Dead by Daylight, which is something that hasn't happened in a long time. And something that you constantly hear complaints about is like, survivors just do gens and killers just camp hooks and like it's just the same thing over and over again. And like, so yeah, taking risks and looking for something that's going to dynamically change the pace of the game, incredible idea. My only real concern was the stacking thing. Like if you can get a little out of control if you stack them up, and that's really RNG based. But again, like it's RNG based, and like a lot of the time that's not even going to be possible. I think that I don't really know if I think that they need to be limited. I don't really know if I think that they need to be able to be permanently broken by the killer. Like, I mean, that's crazy, right? Coming from a killer main to be like, to say stuff like that. But like, genuinely, like the amount of time they fucking waste setting up the boon totem in the first place that may or may not even work out for them. Like, to me, it feels like there's such an investment in time and effort, and it's like locked to an area. Like, there's just so many reasons why. It's not like they can just put down a totem on their own wherever they want to. Like they have to actually get to a totem. I do think it's a little too strong for it to be able to just blink out a hex totem and the hex won't come back. I don't know if they should make it so you can't apply it to a hex, or if the killer snuffs it, the hex comes back. But that's really
the second one would have to be the way, because if you have a killer that brings like five hexes or something, then you've got a boon perk that's essentially useless. So I think it limits it too much and makes it, you don't want to have survivors bringing in perks that they can't like actually use.
Yeah, I
mean, I guess if you bring a med kit in and you play against the plague, yeah, it sucks you can't use that med kit. But if you bring in like I mean, I guess if you bring in self-care and you play a plague, then you can't really use
Yeah,
self-care
exactly.
either,
I was gonna start
cancel a perk
I was gonna
out,
start
so-
bringing up a bunch of
yeah.
stuff and be like,
Yeah.
you know,
I caught myself.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, if a guy wants to invest that hard in 5 hex totems just to maybe
Yeah.
delete boon totems, like,
Block it.
I don't know. I mean, again,
Yeah, true.
I'm not saying that I think that should be the thing. I'm not saying that I think that you shouldn't be able to apply it to a hex.
Oh, definitely.
But I am going to say that I think that my concerns with it lie in it being able to simultaneously blink out an incredibly powerful perk for the killer and then add an incredibly powerful perk for the survivor. Maybe if you use it on a hex totem, you can't use it again after that. Like that's your risk reward. If you use it to cancel a hex, you can't, it disables it for the rest of the match. So you can only use it once. But otherwise, you can use it over and over again. Maybe, I don't know. Like, is that one way to look at it? Maybe that's just like that. Just came up with that just off the top of my head. But
what if you can't? What if you had to do it twice? So a double time investment. So you had to actually you cleanse out the hex, and then you have to bless the dull totem from there.
Ooh, what if they reworked
like
it to where when you cleanse a hex totem, it doesn't actually kill the dull, it just kills the hex first.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean that in general, and that way.
Oh wow,
that would be like a whole different dynamic because then it would
it frees up more totems for stuff.
But it would be like a minor buff to like Noed, which I'm a big fan of. So let's go.
Yeah, true.
I don't know.
The other thing about boons that I've had in my mind is a lot of people are saying it's going to be busted because you can just keep infinitely blessing it. The thing I was saying about like potentially the killer being able to wipe it out completely, that's just in case it gets out of hand. But as it is currently in its state. A lot of people are saying, they can bless and bless and bless over and over and over again. But I kept having to remind people, inner strength is a perk. Well, whatever the hell they're calling inner strength now, that's a perk. Survivors want to cleanse totems to be able to heal in lockers. Clairvoyance is a new perk from Michaela. That's a perk that people probably might not use, but you have to cleanse a totem to do that. So you're going to actually have survivors fighting over totems now.
Yep.
On if they want to bless it or if they want to cleanse it or if it's a hex. So this is what I mean, and this is what you're agreeing with me about, taking the risk and bringing in a new idea. How cool, like I feel like it's so cool that there's already 3 different things going through my head about 3 different situations, and that's just a totem. Like
absolutely, yeah.
There's still the rest of the game to play.
Absolutely. But, I mean, you gotta risk reward it. Like, is it worth keeping the boon up just to turn into Noed later? Like, Does
it actually? If it's a boon totem and then
it won't become Noed. But
it doesn't become.
If the killer prioritizes cleansing it, getting rid of the boon towards the end of the game. Like I know when I was playing on the PTB and I was rocking Noed, I would kind of drop chase at 4 gens done and like kind of just make sure I made sure that my duel was free. Like I don't know, it was like another
that adds a different play style.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like another little mini game to play. Like, ooh, we got to make sure.
I love that.
We got to make sure our totem's clear. Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Overall, I think it's a W. And you know what? God damn it, we had Undying was out for 5 months, being able to create 5 ruined totems per match.
Yeah, so that was a nightmare.
So you know what? It's okay if boons are broken for a little while we figure out how broken they are. Like.
But do you know what the best thing about it is that they can't be broken for a while because we have a kill switch now.
Yep.
In the game. Well, we will have a kill switch. So for anyone that doesn't know, kill switch is going to be coming to the game. So if a perk is busted, if an item is busted, if a character is busted for whatever reason, like a killer power is broken and doesn't work properly after an update, they can press a button, that item gets killed out of the game, it becomes unusable. It'll tell you that it's no longer usable for this period of time, or not for this period of time, but just tell you that it's not available right now and that it will come back. And we're not going to have to suffer through a broken, similar to what they've been doing with the maps. Yep. Disabling the maps.
Yep. I think it's a great change.
I think that's awesome.
Something we've needed for a while. It only took them 5 years. Man, I don't know though. It's priorities and
yeah, of course.
I don't know how hard it was for them to get that in, but I think that's a really great change. And like, in a perfect world, they would be able to just make updates like midweek or all the time. But like, we're not in the perfect world, and cross balancing between multiple platforms means they can only really do patches on certain days. And so, yeah, I think the kill switch is really going to help us out a lot. You remember when like Prove Thyself got broken and like people could stack double triple, or when Wake Up was broken and Wake Up applied to like everything including gens, and so people were just like fucking ripping through gens constantly, and we had to wait for them to get a patch out to stop it. And I'm just like, every time I saw Wake Up I just want to throw up. Like
it's like abusing that broken stuff. It's always going to happen, but when it doesn't go away after like a short period of time, that's when it's like, oh, this is we're in for a long ride.
Yeah, so I'm glad there's a kill switch now. It's an excellent thing. So, are we missing anything from the PTB?
No, I think we honestly smashed through it. That was a really concise and good overall gist of it. Obviously, we will continue to go into, on the podcast, I'll continue to go into detail of these things as the PTB and the actual chapter comes out, or the mid chapter comes out, when we actually can play with them on live servers and have more time with them. This is all speculation just off of PTB. Very minimal playtime for myself, and obviously, you put 2 good sessions in, so you've got a bit more experience, especially on the killer side of things. But hey, you've got a killer main right here that's saying boon totems, they're okay with it. So
yeah, I'm not only okay with it, like I'm like in favor. I'm supported heavily.
Yeah,
like I really think it's a good thing for the game. And again, like, yeah, I might not be right. It might be completely fucking busted. And like a month in, I might be like, dude, I was so dumb when I was all about this. But like at the end of the day, like it's adding change. It's like jumping off the ledge for the first time, like figuring out if I don't know. It needs to happen. So. Whether it's, and if they released them if they released them ass, no one would use them. Like, do you really want like the fucking Dark Sense equivalent of a new mechanic? Like, we want people you want people to use the new mechanic. We want to see how it works. We want to see how the interactions go. We want to see how it changes the game. So it needs to be strong, or no one's going to use it. We see how many perks get used right now. Like, nothing gets used. Like 6 or 8
10,
perks, yeah.
Like
10 if you count like head-on memes and shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it needed to be strong. It's gonna be strong. Like, we'll survive other killer mains. Like, they lived through 5 months of 5 ruined totems per game. We can live through a few months of boon totems being strong if they even turn out to be really strong, which they might not.
Exactly, if people even bother to run them. So
yeah.
The last thing I'll say about the one that kind of gets put to the wayside, the aura reading one with the scratch marks leaving, I think that's actually one that people haven't really talked about. That one's actually going to be super strong if the totems do stack and lead into each other, because it persists after 4 seconds when you leave the area.
Yeah.
So you can potentially run like area to area, 28 meters to 28 meters, like without
cold tower. You could just like not leave scratch marks for an entire game. Like,
ever. You're invisible. No aura, nothing.
I had some pretty neat plays get made on me on the PTB with that scratch mark one. Like, really, it's like, honestly, like, I don't like it as much because I really hate immersed, like, sneaky play style. Like, I like chase in mind gaming and that stuff is like what fuels me in DBD. But ultimately, like, I think there'll be people that are going to make some really slick plays with that boon totem, the scratchy hidey one. I think you're right.
Yeah, exactly. The last thing, obviously, we've banged out the chapter stuff and talked about the skill-based matchmaking. We'll get ready to finish up, but the last thing, and I always like to do this, is go through just quickly the shrine that's out this week, to just get your opinion on the killer perks. I'll give my opinion on the survivor perks if it's worth grabbing. I've got the shrine perks, so I can tell you what they are, don't stress. So the 2 killer ones are Infectious Fright and Hoarder, and then the 2 survivor ones are Dance With Me and Off the Record. So it's a pretty easy shrine to figure out this week. Did you want to just like give your thoughts on the Infectious Fright and Hoarder?
Infectious Fright is actually one of the best perks in the game for killer, I think. Like, it's insane information. It's an insane snowball perk. I would put it strongly in the top 10 for perks in the entire game.
So
absolutely worth picking up, without a doubt, especially if you like playing killers like Oni, Billy, Leatherface, like anybody with an insta down. Like Nurse is great. Yeah, Huntress, another one that's great with it. So yeah, definitely a buy. Hoarder is,
I'd say probably get Plague. If you can afford to get an entire character, Plague's getting buffed. She has Corrupt Intervention as well.
Yeah.
So Potentially even just get plague instead of just infectious.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If you're already, if plague's on the table, absolutely, she's gonna be. I'm gonna say this now with confidence. She'll be a top 5 killer if the PTB changes go through. She will be a top 5 killer in Dead by Daylight. Like that's something that
all right, you heard it here.
I think that's objective. Like I think that. Please convince me how she won't be, because like she's already super strong. And everything she does is now getting way better and easier. Like she's just gonna be nuts. Like I don't know.
Yep,
she completely eliminates the healing mechanic from the game outside of her shrines or her fountains, which will now become fucking machine gun fountains that she can use to like decimate you in a loop. Like it's nuts, dude. So
she also counters boon totems, so
yeah, she does. So yeah, so again, yeah, if the option is buy plague or buy infectious, like grab plague, but
go for plague.
If you're just saving up for perks and you're not really trying to buy a new chapter, infectious is a great perk. Hoarder is garbage. It's useful on in a non-meme fashion on Pinhead, but I think they're gonna nerf that. So right now, if you guys don't know, Pinhead has the box that you can pick up that you have to pick up to avoid his match power, which is the chain hunts, right? You have a certain period of time that you're safe, and then you reach chain hunt time, and you have to solve the box in order to make that mechanic go away. Hoarder actually tracks when you pick up the box, so it's really kind of broken because when you pick up the box, you're oblivious. So Pinhead will know where you're at, but you won't be able to hear him coming. And if he downs you while you're carrying the box, a chain hunt immediately starts. So
that's when the nightmare begins.
Exactly. So basically, like on any other killer, Hoarder is legitimately a meme. And I use it in some meme builds, and it's very fun. It's a fun perk. And again, it really comes down to why you're playing the game. Do you play for fun and memes and entertainment, or are you trying to win games? Because Hoarder is not going to help you win games on any killer but Pinhead. Just full stop.
I agree.
It's going to be one of the worst perks in the game on any killer except for Pinhead, in which case it's like literally broken as fuck, but like they're also almost surely going to nerf that. So,
and it comes from twins, so I don't really think if the character's on the table, I don't really think that twins is worth getting, in my opinion.
I mean, I think Twins is a very unique killer and they're very strong in the right situations. I think perk wise, she doesn't bring a lot to the table, but I'm actually like biased because I love playing the Twins. Like it's one of my favorite killers in the game. One of my favorite. I play Twins in comp and it's like my favorite thing. But perk wise, I think you're quite all right to go another direction from Twins because. I mean, I don't know. I'm an idiot, but oppression's like my favorite slowdown perk. So
oppression's actually not too bad.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's definitely. So I'm a huge fan of late game slowdown rather than early game slowdown. I could talk about this for fucking hours, Deaxz. So basically, oppression is going to give you way more value when you're down to a 3-gen or a 4-gen than it is at the beginning of the game with 7 gens. Ruin is an early game slowdown. And because it's going to go away, almost always going to go away within the first couple gens. But oppression keeps keeping value like throughout the whole game and gets stronger the smaller the map gets and the smaller the gen count gets. And to me, it makes it more of like a fun interactive perk. And it has that mechanic of like if somebody's working on a gen, when oppression hits it, you get a hard skill check. So you get like you also, if you get lucky, you can get some more information and some more aggression. It's just a fun perk, and I like it a lot. I don't know. I enjoy it.
Exactly. No. I honestly forgot that was from Twins. So I mean, could make it worth getting her. So the Survivor one's a Dance With Me and Off the Record. Dance With Me is Kate perk, and this basically whenever you do a rushed action, so vault a window or leave a locker, you don't leave any scratch marks for 3 seconds. If this the cooldown's 40 seconds. I think maybe if it had like a shorter cooldown, it might be okay. It might be kind of worth using. It's fun to play in like invisible builds that people play. So just like use Quick and Quiet and then use Dance With Me, and you can just basically disappear for jumping through a window or something like that. I don't know. It's not worth again, like you said, RM. It's if you're playing for fun and to kind of just muck around, Dance With Me can be a lot of fun to confuse the killer. But if you're playing to win or to do well, it's it still can help you, but you're probably going to want to run other perks. Kate has
Can I ask you a question though?
Yeah, go on.
What about if you use Dance With Me to get rid of your scratch marks to make it to the boon totem that gets rid of your scratch marks? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man!
I mean,
all of a sudden,
and then you spend time healing, and then you run out of there, and you've got Dance With Me up again, and then
exactly
you're
the
again.
meta. We just we just changed the meta. We broke the meta on the podcast.
Yep. And then I think Windows of Opportunity is that a cape perk?
Yeah, it is a cape perk.
I can't remember.
Yep.
Yeah, so definitely with the upcoming buff to Windows, cape could be on the cards if you like the look of that. And Zarina's perk off the record. If you unhook yourself or you're unhooked, off the record activates for 80 seconds. Your aura is not shown to the killer if they attempt to read it, and your grunts of pain are reduced. So you get Iron Will for 80 seconds, and you no longer show up to the killer with aura reading. So if they hook someone else, you won't show up on barbecue. If you run past an Undying Totem, just anything that shows the aura retribution, they won't see you. I don't really see the use in this really. Again, they've kind of gone with the. It's actually quite funny. I just realized the perks, the killer perks and the survivor perks directly contradict each other for what they do, because Infectious and Hoarder give you information and make you basically visible to the killer, and both of the survivor perks make you invisible to the killer. I don't know if they normally do that, but that's quite funny. I would say don't bother with off the record. Save your shards for the new character if you can. I think she'll be fun to experiment with the boon totems. So grab this again potentially if you don't want to run like Iron Will, and you could potentially use this with like Lucky Break in an unhook build, like a Deliverance build or something like that. Vigil, when the new Vigil comes out, you can get your broken status away quicker. I don't know. Not really worth getting. I love Zarina though, so she has really cool cosmetics, so maybe you can grab her for that reason. But perk wise, yeah, not too crazy.
Yeah.
Would you say both those kind of the same?
Yeah, I agree with you. I've been playing Killer a lot, and I put a lot of hours, and I don't think I've ever seen an effective use of off the record, like not a single time. Yeah. So I think Dance With Me, I've definitely seen some life Dance With Me, some cool quick plays. And quiet like memes that are like pretty. I always like pog out to that though. Like if somebody runs some like weird off meta stuff and like it works, it's like the coolest thing,
disappear.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if I think it's like you said, there's a lot of synergy between the killer and survivor perks this time, because counter synergy, like right, like one's about information, one's about hiding information, but like killer side, there's like Infectious is super viable and usable, and so like I would say like Dance With Me is kind of like I don't think it's like a direct comparison in terms of viability, but
it's
like
the Infectious of this of this shrine,
yeah, because it can be used effectively in the right setup, and it's kind of neat. I'm for it, but I would definitely tell you that you'd probably be better off using your shards on a fucking Dwight cosmetic, a new Dwight shirt, than getting off the record, because I've never once seen that effectively used by anybody ever. So, and
if you have the ability to potentially play a little bit more and get some more shards, that new survivor is coming out. So,
and then again, like
save up,
I would say, the other thing I would say about Hoarder is like if you own Pinhead, the only reason to have Hoarder, you probably already have Hoarder too, right? Like odds are you already probably have it. So.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't, then get it and have some fun memes with.
Yeah, and hurry up and get it, because they're probably going to nerf it because it's broken as hell.
Yeah. That pretty much brings us like to the end of this. We've broken the record again. Not surprised with you of the longest podcast so far. I'm sure we could have gone on for many, many, many moons, but you have just streamed for like 7 hours or something, 8 hours. So. You need a rest anyway, and we don't want to spoil we don't want to get all the information out too too quickly. We got a lot of stuff coming up, so there'll be plenty more to talk about eventually. Is there anything else that you kind of wanted to say or had on your mind at all?
No,
in the game?
not at all. If you're somebody that's listened to this entire podcast and you did it in one session, get outside and get some fresh air, man. Like it's a long podcast, but I had a lot of fun. I really always enjoy chatting with you, and it's nice to do that and also kind of create something, because we're both creators and like we're both fueled. I've talked with you a lot off the record just about our passion for creating things, and it's just like we have very similar mindsets in that, and so it's just, I think that like we should probably be thankful that it was only 2 hours and not 5 to 7 hours,
exactly.
right? And like you said you said that I just got off an 8-hour stream, which is actually true. I streamed for like just under 7 hours, but this felt like a blink of an eye to me. I could have this conversation all night, and like it didn't feel like work. And that's one of the things that's really cool about pursuing your passions full time is some days they're going to feel like work, but a lot of the times it's just like, if you're really passionate about what you do and you're with other people that are passionate and fueled, like it's so like awesome. So I appreciate you creating this podcast, and I appreciate you inviting me to be a part of it. And if you were listening, I appreciate you taking the time to listen. And if anything I said upset you or annoyed you, you can go ahead and DM Deaxz about it. I don't want to hear about it personally. You just keep it to yourself. No,
Or you can go and visit RM stream.
Yeah.
And go and talk about it personally.
Yeah. You come to twitch.tv/runningman, discord.gg/runningman, twitter.com/runningmanttv, myspace.com/xx69dragonfighter420. Those are all ways you can reach out to me and let me know that I'm ass or that you think I'm really smart and handsome. It's up to you. You can decide to say whatever you want. But no,
But yeah, please, guys, go and do that. Running Man is literally top 3 favorite people on Twitch, 100%, and out of Twitch. He's a good actual. I consider him an actual friend, even though he's on the other side of the world. And he helps not only myself, but a lot of other people directly and indirectly with a lot of their content creation journeys. So definitely go and give him a follow. It's free, so. If you're on Twitch, he has a YouTube as well that he didn't mention, but he's getting big on the YouTube again. So go and search that.
Getting huge. I think I got like 170 views on my last short, bro. I'm popping off. Let's go.
Yeah, he's popping off. You're putting in the big effort. That's the main thing. So I appreciate you so much for hanging out with me, man. It's been a really good conversation. As you said, it flew by. One of my favorite things about the podcast and about talking to people on the podcast is, as you said, it doesn't feel like work, but we also spent almost, just shy of 3 hours talking about the game that we play for 6 to 8 hours almost every day. And none of that would happen if we didn't play the game and enjoy it. So it's really cool to make something that's an extension of this game that doesn't involve us playing the game at all. We literally sat in our chairs and talked to each other. So I have to thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
As the fog rolls in, another podcast comes to an end. Thank you all so much for listening and putting up with us for so long. We really enjoyed sharing our thoughts with you. I apologize for the length between episodes. However, I do have guests lined up for the coming weeks, and we should be getting Quixie back soon, so hopefully these can start coming out a lot more regularly. Remember to go and check out Running Man on any platform you can, and to sign off this week, I'll just leave you with a GG game.